brook U.S. interference. This is likely just the start of a broad rethink in U.S.-European relations. German Chancellor Angela Merkel warned on Thursday that she can no longer count on the U.S. to protect them. She added this is time for Europe to take its destiny into its own hands. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. UPI reports the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park will close on Friday because of potential steam and ashfall from the summit of Kilauea volcano. The National Park Service said in a statement, due to the possibility of a steam-induced explosion at the summit of Kilauea due to the receding lava lake and ensuing ashfall event, plus southerly wind patterns forecasted for Friday, the majority of the park will be closed Friday until further notice. We will reopen when it is safe to do so. Most of the park will be closed except for the Kahuku unit, which will be open for normal hours. The temporary closure of the Hawaii's Volcano National Park comes after the Kilauea volcano has been releasing toxic steam and lava for several days, causing widespread damage in the area. While Kilauea is normally an active volcano, the recent increase in activity has some experts predicting a large explosion soon. Hawaii Volcanoes Observatory Scientist-in-Chief Christina Neal told the Honolulu Star-Advertiser that scientists believe a small earthquake near the summit of Kilauea caused a large rock fall into the crater, which led to an explosion near the surface of the lava lake. Neal said, "I think it's our best estimation that this is the first of perhaps more events like this to come." For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the city of Los Angeles agreed on Thursday to pay $2 million to settle a civil lawsuit over the fatal police shooting of a homeless man in 2015 that went viral in an online video and fueled a U.S. debate on police tactics, according to a lawyer for the man's family. Dan Stormer, a lawyer representing the family of Charlie Africa Kunang, said the settlement came shortly after a federal jury in Los Angeles found that 2 police officers in the civil suit were liable for the death of the 43-year-old man. Stormer said in an interview, "The defense made an offer which we accepted. It was $2 million. The 8-person jury found that Officer Francisco Martinez had used unreasonable force against Kanang and that his superior, Sergeant Chand Syed, had failed to intervene. The jury cleared a third officer, Daniel Torres, in the deadly March 2015 incident. A spokesman for the Los Angeles Police Department said it would not comment on a civil suit. The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office had previously declined to charge the 3 officers with criminal charges. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The number of users who actually enjoy Facebook is down to 4. And Apple announces a new iPhone with the N-word on the back, knowing customers will buy it anyway. And now for the delayed and utterly thoughtless romantic gesture that is The Onion Week in Review. Self-identified 9/11 truther Dennis Shaw told reporters Tuesday he's absolutely convinced the United States government has orchestrated an intricate plot to systematically destroy the last 11 years of his life. Shaw, who since 2001 has spent nearly every waking minute poring over footage of the World Trade Center attack and even handing out truther pamphlets every afternoon, says the government is behind the gradual collapse of his personal and professional life, adding that the conspiracy, quote, goes all the way to the top.
Before 2001, I'd see my friend Stephen Copley every couple of weeks, and now he won't even answer my calls. The government got to him too. Think about it. My coworkers, my wife, my friends, everyone calling me crazy after September 11th and wanting nothing to do with me. What are the chances of that?
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. It is Free Talk Live, and it's the live Saturday edition of the program. As always, you're invited to join us here. If you want to get on the radio with us, you can talk about whatever's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Our Skype username, should you wish to call us there, is lrn.fm. And there's also our Discord on-air call-in line room, which is the first room when you jump into our Discord server. It is over at discord.lrn.fm. Again, that's discord.lrn.fm. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Mark, fresh back from the Startup Societies Conference.
Summit, yes.
You didn't really mention in advance that you were going to this. Not on the air that I can recall.
No, I don't think I did.
But you went to this.
Yep.
And let's talk briefly about what it was. What is the Startup Societies?
Well, the Startup Societies Summit is a place where people can come and talk about the notion of building new places with new forms of governance. If one believes in the marketplace, and I do, I believe the marketplace provides us with the best services, and that innovation comes from competition, that monopolies tend not to innovate. And this is one of the reasons that I am terrified by the notion of government, especially specifically the United States government, intervention in the marketplace as far as medicine goes, because innovation's going to trickle to nothing.
Sure.
But when it comes to governance, we haven't had a lot of leap forwards in the idea of government, right? So
it's a bad old idea. The state is a terrible, decrepit, destructive old idea.
Yeah, so there's this monopoly that claims use of force over a given landmass. Starts with city-states and that kind of thing. Some group of people takes over. If it's a king, there's still nobles, right? There's always a group of people that take over, and those people claim power. Here in the United States, we kind of have two groups that are so similar that you can barely tell the difference, that fight over the power.
Yeah.
That's not exactly competition, if you know what I mean.
Indeed.
So, what would happen if you could buy a allodial title, and by that I mean you wouldn't have to pay property taxes to some state. If you could buy a allodial title and start your own little city-state or whatever, right?
It sounds magical.
Right. It sounds pretty interesting. Maybe you'd get something like Singapore, Monaco, Hong Kong, many of the special economic zones that are springing up around the world. Maybe you get something really good. Mm-hmm. Some of them would necessarily fail, right? Like these bad ideas are bad ideas. But what if we tried this with government, different types of government? Let people try different ideas, because it seems really ludicrous that the idea of a republic is the newest thing we've got. This was Rome 2,500 years ago. Maybe it's a little less than that, but not much less than that.
Yeah.
So, the newest idea we have in government is 2,500 years old?
Sounds about right.
That's pretty crazy. So, to get new ideas, you have to have incubators for new ideas. So let's try some new ideas, and that's what the conference was basically about.
This wasn't their first conference, though, right? They've had a few of them.
I think the first one was in New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I remember that happening here, but we didn't happen to go to that one. So good show. Lots of good
really
ideas.
Enjoyed it.
Good people.
Yep, it's great. Got lots of interviews. You can expect the Edgington Post shows to be piling up here once I get the audio processed.
Listeners who are new to the program, Edgington Post is Mark's kind of podcast, I guess you could call it that.
Yeah, interview program. I also get the last segment of the show sometimes, so it's more than a podcast. It's broadcast radio, too.
But you can only hear the whole thing on the podcast version of the show, so you can download at your leisure over at freetalklive.com. And whether you want to talk about the idea of a startup society or something that's in the news, you're welcome to take control of the airwaves here. 855-450, free like freedom. I love the idea of people trying something new. I want to see it happen. I just feel like there's been a lot of talking about it for a long time, and I'm ready to see somebody actually do something about it. And it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, well, you have to get governments to accept it, right? And
that seems like a pretty difficult thing to do, because why would a government want to give up property and control?
Because of competition. So you don't need a specific piece of land. You need a piece of land. So you've got 180 different dealers in allodial title out there, and you just kind of...
Which one wants the money the most?
Which one wants the money the most? And
which one values the money over the long-term control? Which one wants the short-term gain?
Well, you got to look for the poor ones, right? That are in places where people want to live. So warmer weather tends to be something that people look for. It's nice to be close to a port. That way there can be import-export business that's done there, and then that can be infused into the greater continent or whatever. This is one of the ways that Singapore and Hong Kong have managed to make themselves work.
Well, my biggest objection to this, and we've had this discussion before about starting up some new place and having to trust some government to honor an agreement, which, of course, as you know, governments don't exactly have a long history or even a short history of being honorable in any way, shape, or form. And so the idea that you could trust them to sell you a plot of land and then leave you alone, because I believe they'll sell you the plot of land. They'll take your money, and they'll give you some kind of piece of paper for it.
I believe that too, yeah.
I just don't know what's going to happen later, like when they try to take it back from you, or when they pretend like they didn't sign the paper, or they invalidate the paper at their Supreme Court, or something like that.
Sure.
And your objection, or your answer to my objection, was that it worked for Monaco. So you claim that this actually has happened before.
Well, that's not just so Monaco is the purchasing of a allodial title. There's special economic zones. Have you heard this term before?
Yeah.
So China's full of them. They're all around the world. French Polynesia has 3 currently. I don't know how many there are, but there are dozens of special economic zones around the world. This is a innovation in the area of governance. So governments are like, well, yes, we want to get people to come here, so we'll allow you to try your own legal system and handle building your own city and that sort of thing. We'll let you do that in that special economic zone. No problem. At this point, not one special economic zone has had what you were talking about occur to it. Now, these aren't necessarily...
Wait, you mean a take back?
Yeah, take back. These aren't necessarily free libertarian places by any stretch, but they're effectively private cities, so you could call them libertarian in the sense that they're voluntary, right? Okay. To some extent. Some level of voluntary. So the country itself, the mother country, will keep some kind of control. Like they'll say, we're giving you military protection, and passports have to come through us. So visas and all the that kind of thing. They'll withhold that sort of thing from the special economic zone. But what happens is that if somebody can negotiate some kind of lessening of government in an economic zone for an ongoing period of time, then once that's negotiated, then you can negotiate some lesser amount and some lesser amount and some lesser amount. All you have to do is show, hey, look, Venezuela, Honduras said that they would give us this, and this, and this. Will you give us this, and this, and then additionally this? And so it's a negotiation.
Yeah, it's an interesting theory, and like I said, I really hope that it pans out into something good in the future. We'll certainly be keeping our eyes on it, and if you know more about it than we do, please feel free to call in. Let's go to your calls, though, and thoughts. And then coming up, bullying in nursing homes. First, it's Larry in Indiana. You're on Free Talk Live, listening to WIBC FM. Hello, Larry.
Hello.
Hey, Larry, you're on the air.
Hey, listen, you guys are awful naive or young or whatever you are. Michelangelo said all governments ultimately fall into that great gulf of despotism.
Sure.
That has been proved on down through the years.
Sure.
If you're talking about setting up your little utopia, it ain't going to be long before somebody comes along and says, well, we see them over here doing fine. Let's go take over. And then what's going to happen then? We need protection. You're going to pay somebody for protection. So, and these places you're talking about in Singapore and different places, those are zones where they allow people to have a governor, just like when they had the plantations in Africa and other places around the world. They allowed a governor to go in, just like Rome when they done their conquering.
So your concern is that there could be a takeover, a hostile takeover.
No, but I'm not talking about hostile takeover. I'm talking about the despotism of somebody allowing somebody to come into a sovereign country and set up a zone wherein they can have slave labor or treat their workers any way they want to treat them and import slave labor, because that's all it boils down to, Mark and Ian. I mean, you look
at... Hold that thought, Larry. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Is that what you're advocating here, Mark, is slave labor? There's more coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the program. You can dial in toll free and join us right here. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
855-450-3733. Free Talk Live brought to you by Bitcoin.com. If you've been interested in getting into Bitcoin mining, but yet you don't have the technical chops, admit it, you probably don't. If you do, you're already into it, likely.
Don't.
If you don't have the technical chops and you want to get into Bitcoin mining, you can do like Mark and I have done. I mean, I can do it, but I don't feel like it. So go to pool.bitcoin.com. Mark, you couldn't do it even if you tried. Pool.bitcoin.com is where you go.
I suppose that I could begin studying and maybe 2 or 3 months later figure it out. Yeah, I mean, but I just don't, like you.
Your time's valuable.
Yeah, I just don't want to do that. I don't fix my own car.
Exactly.
I don't do a lot of things. I hire people to do a lot of things.
Pool.bitcoin.com. You can mine BTC or BCH, Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin Cash. It is up to you which Bitcoin you choose. I'm mining Bitcoin Cash. Mark, you've got one going too, right?
Bitcoin Cash, yeah.
So it's up to you. Go to pool.bitcoin.com. And if you do have because they'll take care of all the technical stuff. They put together all the equipment. They host it. They do all that stuff. You just invest your cryptocurrency, and then hopefully you'll collect more at the other end than you put in. That's the plan, at least. So pool.bitcoin.com. Go and get started over there. As we go back to Larry in Indiana, we started out the show, Mark, you were talking about the Startup Societies Conference, which just wrapped up in Washington, D.C. earlier this week. You attended that. You've got some interviews that are going to be coming on our podcast feed at freetalklive.com. Yep. But we're just kind of talking generally about the idea of setting up sort of a government-free special economic zone where there's not, the same government that you're used to, even though it's within a certain government's national borders. That government is supposedly going to agree to stay out in return for a large cash payment
I think
to that government.
It's pretty clear that some governments are bad at what they do, or at least not getting the results that they hope for.
Yeah.
And some of those governments are trying special economic zones to let other people come in and, attempt to make life better.
Yeah. Now, Larry had a concern here, and maybe I misunderstood what you were saying, Larry, but it sounded like your concern was that these special economic zones will mean that slavery is going to be happening there because there's no government to protect people. I don't want to, put words in your mouth. Is that what you were saying?
Let me break it down to you in something that's currently going on.
Okay.
Now, Hung Yun Moon, or whoever he is, the guy in Korea, right?
The president of South Korea?
Yes. No, North Korea.
North Korea? That's Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un or whoever he is. He's a stupid-looking person, right?
All right.
Now, what Trump has told him is that, look, Onion, you're going shooting these dummy rockets up when you got all these starving people over here. Let us come in and develop your economic system here, and you'll do a lot better off. So what he's doing is he's going to stop his dummy rockets, and because he knows that he got a bunch of starving people that he can exploit and allow large factories to come in, just like they've done in South Vietnam after the war, and exploit those people.
Hold on.
Export.
Wait. Let me slow you down here because you've completely changed gears. You've gone from talking. Yes, you have. No, it's not the same thing at all. You've gone from talking about a special economic zone, a special carve out of sort of a semi-free or mostly free area from an existing state, and you're comparing that to North Korea, which is basically a prison state.
Hey, I am, and you're going to have these little carved out areas. That's what you're promoting right now is a prison state where you don't have any rights.
So you're saying that what Mark's talking about is going to be a prison state where there are no rights and slavery.
So, Larry.
A plantation.
Okay. Thank you for the call tonight. Appreciate it.
Okay.
I'd like you to respond to that, Mark, because he's just going to keep on rambling.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Well, first off, Larry's correct in that his concern, right? Like, you should always be concerned throughout, since the agrarian revolution and probably before that, the natural human condition has been some level of slavery, servitude, or whatever, right? Yeah. Currently, in fact, citizenship is that. I'll use the United States citizenship because I think it's the best example. The United States claims a portion of your wages, of the money you make, if you're a U.S. citizen, no matter where you live in the world.
Yeah.
There are exemptions for certain amounts and that kind of thing. But if you make enough, they will claim some percentage of it. You may haven't been in the United States since you were a child, but if you're a U.S. citizen, they will claim some of your wages from you. You can't tell me that an organization that claims a portion of the fruits of your labor, when they don't even provide you with anything, like there's no roads, you can't say, but what about the firemen? Because you're not getting fire services.
You're talking about people living outside of the U.S.
Right. These are people living outside of the United States. Mm-hmm. And the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, through the power of the State Department and the United States government, has claimed the fruits of these people's labor. And you can't tell me that's not a form of servitude. Certainly, it beats the pants off of chattel slavery.
Well, the chattel slaves were provided with a service of a roof over their head in a lot of cases.
Well, they couldn't leave.
Some food.
But you
can't leave the U.S. either unless you got permission.
Not unless you pay an exit tax.
Yeah.
But then again, any slave could have bought their freedom just about any time in history. Mm. So Larry is correct in being concerned. However, when I went to the Startup Societies conference, none of these people's pitches during their speech were, you know what we're going to do? We're going to find a bunch of poor people and exploit their labor.
Yeah, but they're not going to admit that,
Well,
right? Like if that's what they want to do.
I don't know if that's what they would want to do or not, but I can tell you that it didn't sound like it was hidden in there at all. Mm-hmm. All they said is we're going to create a special economic zone, and people would be more free. What we can see in places like Hong Kong, Singapore, Monaco, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, places like that, smaller areas that you'll see, more personal freedom, more wealth, more prosperity, and a higher standard of living. I don't see how that equates to slavery. That's what these people are trying to replicate. They're trying to take despotic regimes that currently exist and make freer enclaves there that provide more human freedom. I mean, if you're concerned that freedom causes slavery, then stay where you are. But if you think that freedom causes prosperity, a higher standard of living, and more happiness, then by God, keep an eye on these things.
Shouldn't somebody be free to sell themselves into slavery?
I don't think you can actually sell yourself into slavery. So, I mean, you could contract with somebody for your labor over a given period of time, but that's not slavery because you contracted. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I mean, if you...
It can feel like slavery.
Yeah.
For instance, we have some good examples of that. Right now, currently, I'll use the United States government and their military. So you contract with the military to go in for 2, 4, or 6 years. And they're going to make it very difficult on you to leave.
Yeah.
You can, but it's very difficult.
So indentured servitude would be a better term?
It's a better example. It's a form of servitude, no doubt, but you get to sell yourself into it for the 30 pieces of silver if that's what you want to do. It's not always a good idea. As a matter of fact, I'm sure there's plenty of people in the military right now that say it's not a good idea. And there's plenty that say that it's a great idea.
Let's go to Luke. I'm thinking he's in Kentucky. Luke, you listening in Bowling Green?
Glasgow, Kentucky.
All right. What are you calling about tonight? Go ahead.
Talking about having your own community and stuff like that. And the guy that was talking about child labor and stuff, around our community, the Amish has bought up over 6,000 acres, and they don't pay any city tax.
Luke, I want to talk to you further about that. The Amish are a very interesting group. There's more coming up here. This is Free Talk Live, plus we'll look at child labor laws as well.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, You know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the program. Will these new special economic zones that should allow for more freedom in those areas, freedom to do business, freedom to just exist personally, freedom to, create, is that going to create child labor? Is that going to create abuse? Is it going to create slavery? Those are some of the concerns that have come forward here tonight, Mark, after you've come back from the Startup Society Summit that happened in D.C. this week, where they talked about these ideas of how do we get out from underneath the thumb of the coercive state and create new places for people to build new things. We'll continue here with your calls and your thoughts. And we'll talk about the child labor question as well. 855-450-FREE like freedom if you want to join us here. Also, Skype username is lrn.fm. Speaking of great products, MyPillow is one of them. In fact, it was designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. I've been using it now for, 3 years, I think, almost. I think we're coming up on the 3-year anniversary.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
MyPillow. It's a great product, and unlike a regular pillow, you can actually wash MyPillow. You can put it in the dryer as well. In fact, it's designed for that process, which means you can actually keep your MyPillow clean, unlike every other pillow you've owned, where you can wash the pillowcase, but you can't wash what's actually inside it until now with MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com, use code FTL, get yours at half price. That's MyPillow.com with code FTL, like Free Talk Live. Unfortunately, the gentleman who'd called in about child labor concerns has dropped off the line, but I thought it was important to address that before we go on with any other calls here, Mark. I mean, so you brushed aside the question of slavery, saying that in a free place, we're not going to see enslavement. That's just not going to happen. The people you've talked to, they're not interested in that. And plus, we could further say that would make this place sort of the scum of the world, basically. I mean, everybody looks down on slavery these days. So why would any company want to trade or do business with anybody that they know is involved in a slave trade? So it just seems like it's a non-starter from the word go, even if somebody wanted to try that. But child labor is a different story, right? I mean, is there anything inherently wrong with the idea of children working?
Well, first I would say that these are special economic zones, and people would have to come to them to choose to work. It's unlikely that somebody can get their S together at the age of 10.
Strike out from home and walk to the special economic zone?
Walk, rowboat. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to get there to the special economic zone, and then enslave themselves in a sweatshop with other 10-year-olds. I'm not sure how that would work. I have a 10-year-old. He could not put this together.
Okay.
Like I assure you, he would get kidnapped before he ever got to where it was that he was going, and he would then be enslaved in a government-dictated zone. Okay. So the problem of child labor exists inside and outside, or at the very least outside. We don't know about inside special economic zones. So I started working at the age of 12. It wasn't as a running a sewing machine in a sweatshop in Bangladesh by any stretch of the imagination. But I began working at a magazine store, people that are now lifelong friends. Just spoke to him yesterday.
Your old boss?
Yeah, my old boss. I consider him my boss. He will always and forever be my boss because from the time I was 12...
Except he doesn't tell you what to do now.
No, he doesn't. From the time I was 12 to the time I was 18, he often gives me advice, and I often follow it. From the time I was 12 to the time I was 18, I worked for him. And, important person in my life. It was a magazine store. Not exactly difficult work.
Was that legal to work at age 12 back then?
It wouldn't have been, but I wasn't getting paid in U.S. dollars. I was getting paid in comic books. So I suspect there's some kind of, alternative there. But this gave me the opportunity to learn how to come to work on time, smile at customers, be pleasant, run a cash register.
If only most teenagers could learn that by the time they're teenagers.
Right.
Wouldn't that be nice?
And you think that those are simple things, but then I think about high school, and the only thing I learned in high school was any value was the typing class, and that was an elective. I mean, honestly, I haven't yet, I don't. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not using differential equations. I'm not using chemistry. I'm not using physics. I'm not using
not even algebra.
Algebra, right? I mean, when's the last time you used the Pythagorean theorem? There is somebody listening.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's one I remember. I don't remember jack squat from geography or geometry class.
It's an extraordinarily important formula.
Or geography.
And there's somebody who's listening right now that uses it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
But what percentage of the population?
That person's doing drawings of triangles all day.
Yeah, they are. They're doing important, important triangle work.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. But what percentage of the population needs to use the Pythagorean theorem?
Probably less than 1%.
On an annual basis.
Of 1%.
And with the internet, by the way, my trigonometry teacher said that you wouldn't be carrying a calculator around in your pocket. Sorry, Miss C-Card.
Suck it.
I am carrying a calculator around in my pocket, a very powerful one, and just about everybody I know does too.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so
you ought to send her a letter.
I'm sure Miss C-Card's probably passed from this mortal coil. I'm 47 years old, even. She wasn't exactly a spring chicken.
She wasn't a young teacher.
She didn't put up with any crap either. I can assure you of that. I don't think kids today could have handled Miss C-Card.
Right?
Yeah. So, I kind of feel like I would have been much better off with understanding compounded interest from a mortgage and that sort of thing than spending. And we did touch on that in math class. So I guess I should count that as one of the things that I learned. But, all this other time on all these other formulas and that kind of thing, probably not worth it. Just saying.
Yeah. I got to say that I think that a lot of government school is a waste of time, and I think that all of the laws that prohibit young people from working are very detrimental to their development. Because if they were able to actually do what you were doing, and I was as well, I was helping my mom out in her thrift store in Florida when I was very young, probably 8 or 9 or 10.
Imagine how valuable that is.
There.
Here we are, two relatively successful guys who started work rather early. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that this is necessarily important, but it seems like I've met a lot of kids today who don't start a job until they're in their 20s.
That's
feel
crazy.
for those kids.
Yeah,
and then.
And it's like they're starting their first job, right? Like they don't have those skills like you're talking about, showing up on time, smiling, all those basics.
Their enabling parents have let this crap go on, and then that generation goes and tells them what bad people they are. Well, I mean, you should have let them. There's legislation that says that they can't work. I mean,
it's crazy.
You should have let them go to work. You should have encouraged it. You should have not given them a bunch of free money so that they can go out and buy video games and whatever it is that they're doing.
Right.
I mean, make them buy that stuff on their own.
Yeah, my parents thankfully did teach me how to save when I was young, and I was able to and had to purchase the things that I wanted. If I wanted a Nintendo in the 1980s, I had to save the $100 to get one from Walmart or whatever it was. And man, did I feel accomplished when I finally did.
Right, and then it's yours.
Yeah. Well, they still could tell me I couldn't use it, but it was technically mine.
Well, it's their electricity.
There you go. Let's go to Michael. He's in Virginia Beach, listening to WNIS. Hello, Michael. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Thank you both. I think you put your finger on it when you said the government schools aren't teaching the right thing. But we also have to add the Christian schools. They're not teaching the right thing.
What's the right thing?
Well, from a Christian biblical standpoint, is supposed to be teaching their congregations and their students in their Christian schools to prepare for a world-ruling king of Israel, a world-ruling king of the Jews, a world-ruling king of kings. But instead, the largest Christian university in the world, Liberty University, goes out and has its president lie to the general population of America in endorsing Donald Trump, saying that Jesus instructed us to vote for Caesar. That's an absolute historical lie. And not only that, but he goes out and encourages the Christian world to vote for the first porn star president in American history.
The first porn star president?
Yeah, I believe Donald Trump has been in some kind of
He's been in porn?
That's what I've heard.
All right, hang on. I want to hear more about that. That's news to me. There's more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Good technology is good, but the philosophy behind the tech is important. And Zencash was made by voluntarists with the ideas of voluntary interaction being embedded into the white paper. With no central authority or single point of failure, Zencash is more resilient than a traditional corporation. Everyone has an equal opportunity to participate in decision-making, which empowers stakeholders and makes Zencash less susceptible to third-party influence. And Zencash allows for secure private transactions. Learn more at zencash.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agrishosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agris Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agrishosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agrishosting.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. Dial on in here toll free at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Skype in if you like. Skype username is lrn.fm. You do need to send a contact request first if you want to call us on Skype. You don't have to do that on Discord, though. You can just go to discord.lrn.fm. There are a few more hoops to get into the Discord. If you already have a Skype account, it's not hard to get us on Skype. But Discord, you need to go to discord.lrn.fm. You have to create an account, and then you can jump on into the Discord from that point forward. It's actually a lot easier to make a Discord account than it is to make a Skype account. So if you're new to either one of those, I recommend going the Discord route, because then you can actually chat with other Free Talk Live listeners during the show and before and after, as well as some of the hosts of the program also tend to be spotted in there from time to time. I'm in there pretty much all the time. So go and check that out, discord.lrn.fm. We're talking with Michael in Virginia Beach, listening to WNIS, and he has called in making allegations that Donald Trump was in pornography. Now, Michael, a quick Google search does reveal a Huffington Post story from, looks like 2016, where they found a very short clip of Donald Trump in a Playboy Playmate video, Playboy's video Centerfold 2000, which was what they describe as a softcore video documentary made in 1999. It features lots of shots of naked women dancing and posing, as well as touching themselves and each other. Don't worry, Trump doesn't do any of those things.
Thank goodness.
He does appear in a brief cameo in which he opens a champagne bottle with the help of some playmates and then pours it on the Playboy Bunny logo. Trump says, quote, "Beauty is beauty, and let's see what happens with New York," unquote. So, Michael, is that what you're referring to when you described him as being in pornography?
Well, I'm referring to a whole mountain of evidence, the most prominent of it being his relationship with porn star Stormy Daniels.
Well, that's not the same thing. I mean, it's important to be honest when you're talking about something. Even if it's somebody you don't like, you probably shouldn't make stuff up. There's no evidence that he was actually in pornography. And I'm sorry, a Playboy video appearance is not being...
That's not a makeup.
Huh?
That's not a makeup. When I'm saying the porn
not a makeup?
star president... No, when I use the term porn star president, what I'm saying is this is a president who has been identified with a porn star in a manner that no other president in American history
I'd say that earns him points. I mean, in my book, good for him.
What for? He was like married when this happened. That's not acceptable behavior.
How do you know he didn't have permission?
Well,
just guessing.
Here's my point. It's not Donald Trump that we have to blame for this. It's the general body of Christianity in America, as exemplified by Jerry Falwell Jr., at the world's largest Christian university in Lynchburg, Virginia, Liberty University. Here is a man who has no morals when he stands up and endorses the president.
Is Falwell still kicking? Was it Pat Robertson who died?
No. This is the junior, the lawyer son of the preacher.
Well, we had a Christian call in last week, and she said the reason that Christians voted for Donald Trump was one word:
Hillary?
Israel.
Oh, Israel.
What she said, and I guess I don't. Like, that's not my issue by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not uncommon for somebody in America to vote based on one issue, right? There's Second Amendment voters, there's abortion voters.
Seems like the dumbest issue you could vote on is Israel.
Well,
I mean,
whatever it might
affect
be.
you.
If Israel has to be rebuilt in order for Jesus to come back with the sound of trumpets, then I guess it's a pretty important issue. I don't think that God needs your help in your vote. I mean, that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
An omniscient, omnipresent being needs you to vote for somebody? That's outrageous. If God wants somebody to be president, they'll be president.
Let me say this, Michael, and thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. There's plenty of things you can criticize Christians for. Right, and we've done no shortage of critique of Christianity here on Free Talk Live. Mark, you and I were both raised in various denominations of Christian church, and so you went to a Christian school at one point, and I went to like Christian Bible camp, and
we're WASPs, yeah.
So we've got some familiarity with that world, and there's plenty of legitimate critique. And I'm not saying Michael was wrong to critique from the Christian's perspective. It seems hypocritical, right? Like to vote for Donald Trump, who is obviously somebody who doesn't seem particularly Christian in his actions, right? Like not in the way that you think of a Christian palling around with a porn star or whatever. Personally, doesn't bother me who he's hanging out with, if he's hanging out with a porn star or has appeared in Playboy. But then again, I'm not somebody who self-describes as a Christian. So, and neither is Michael. So I mean, I get pointing out the hypocrisy, but it's not like Christian hypocrisy is anything new. I mean, are people really surprised that Christians will act as hypocrites?
Or anyone?
Yeah, well, indeed.
All this is more that political talk as far as I'm concerned. So no, I don't think anyone's surprised. It's just that Trump has driven the left crazy in the same way that Obama drove the right crazy, and we're going to have to live with it for the time being because that's just how people are going to act. I mean, they're just not going to I mean, right now with Trump's numbers rising, he's trending upward, probably because of his success with North Korea, just a guess. It's making the left that much more angry. When his numbers were going down, they're like, yes, we're finally winning. We're going to win. We're going to impeach him, and then we'll have Mike Pence as president. I don't know. It's so, I mean, I don't know.
Let's go to
I
Carl.
hate politics.
He is in Atlanta. Carl, you're on Free Talk Live. Are you actually listening? It says here you're listening to us on the radio in Atlanta. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Atlanta, Texas.
Atlanta, Texas.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't notice that part. You're right. Okay. So you're listening to I believe KFLS. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier talking about economic zones. Has anyone tried that with success here in the United States?
In the United States.
Well, no, the United States is highly unlikely. So they have enterprise zones. Different cities will try areas where with a lower real estate tax or suspend it for a period of time or that sort of thing. They'll often try to woo major businesses to come to town. So there's some aspect of it, but it's unlikely the United States, which is highly prosperous, it's the #1 economy in the world, is going to try to create special economic zones to have a better economy because they feel like they're already winning. I will point out that California moved up from economy number 7, the equivalent of economy number 7 to number 5 now.
Wow.
So very successful area. Go right ahead.
Yeah, something, I almost find that hard to believe. I'm not saying it isn't true, but the way it looks to me like California is doing everything they can to chase businesses out of the state.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, California is not a friendly place when it comes to people who are looking for freedom, especially business freedoms. But the fact remains,
it's the internet companies. It's the .com.
There's a lot of money out there still. Yeah. They haven't all left.
It's Silicon Valley.
Carl, anything else you want to share?
Yeah, something. This business about companies and the taxing. To me, that is just, in most cases, just a scam. Well, they shop around. A company will operate for a while they get a tax break, and then as soon as that 10-year time or whatever runs out, then they move along to another industrial site or whatever to at some other area that woos them with a tax break. And it's just something that should be done with this horrible taxation, in my opinion, so that companies don't have to try to move around and take advantage of one spot or another.
Well, the best way to do it would be to abolish taxes entirely. And I apologize, I got the call letters wrong. It's KTFS there in Texarkana. Thank you for the call tonight, Carl. I appreciate it.
This is on a smaller scale. When a company will offer you a starter rate, maybe it'll be the some kind of TV provider services.
Cable for $10 a month for 6 months.
For 6 months, and then after that we jack it up to $150, and if you don't like it, screw you. That kind of thing. Nobody likes that. Mm-hmm. And so when a city tries it with a special, with a enterprise zone, and then lowers taxes for 10 years or whatever while you build, then sure, the businesses that can pick up are likely to pick up and move, because taxes aren't much fun. And in many cases, governments are wasteful and inefficient, so people don't like to see their money spent that way. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants fire services. Everybody wants roads coming to them. Everybody wants these things, but they know innately that these non-functioning or barely functioning bureaucracies are terrible at providing it.
It's absolutely true. If you want to join us, you can. Our number here is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up here tonight, let's see. There's actually news out of North Korea again this time around. They're saying they're going to shut down their nuclear testing site, or at least one of them. I don't know how many sites they have, but it's just kind of a show of good faith. They're closing it down is what they say they're going to do, and they're even going to invite journalists along to watch it happen. More coming up here, 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, if you thought bullying stopped after grade school, well, guess what? Apparently it still goes on in nursing homes. We can talk about that too, or whatever you want.
Non-attorney paid spokesperson. Could your house go into foreclosure? Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Does it seem like the bank has no interest in helping you save your home, and you feel like you have nowhere to turn for help? Then we have good news for you. Foreclosure Protection Services can help save your home, as they specialize in foreclosure assistance. That's all they do. If you're behind on your mortgage payments, being threatened with foreclosure, have been denied a loan modification, or been the victim of a predatory loan, it's critical that you call Foreclosure Protection Services now at 800-667-9035. Their network of attorneys and their agents are available to speak to you now. If you're behind on your mortgage payments, Foreclosure Protection Services can help stop the foreclosure process. Call today before it's too late. New laws are in effect that may save your home. Call Foreclosure Protection Services now at 800-667-9035. 800-667-9035. That's 800-667-9035.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of May 11th through the 13th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.80 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,325 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $31, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,580. Antiwar.com reports one major argument against the United States withdrawing from the P5+1 nuclear deal with Iran was the impact it would have on U.S. relations with the other parties to the deal, including European allies. This appears indeed to be the case as Europe scrambles to strike back against the U.S. measures, with the U.S. talking new sanctions and U.S. officials ordering European companies to stop doing business with Iran. The European Union is already discussing legislation that would effectively block the U.S. from enforcing those measures. This legislation is believed to echo the 1996 legislation the EU used to block U.S. sanctions on Cuba from preventing EU business ties. Since the Iran deal was signed, EU companies have been scrambling to secure lucrative infrastructure deals. The United States largely prevented its own companies from reaching such deals and has tried to keep EU banks from financial deals that had nothing to do with the United States. Europe was annoyed at this before, and now that the United States isn't even a party to the deal, they are likely to be even less willing to brook U.S. interference. This is likely just the start of a broad rethink in U.S.-European relations. German Chancellor Angela Merkel warned on Thursday that she can no longer count on the U.S. to protect them. She added this is time for Europe to take its destiny into its own hands. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. UPI reports the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park will close on Friday because of potential steam and ashfall from the summit of Kilauea volcano. The National Park Service said in a statement, due to the possibility of a steam-induced explosion at the summit of Kilauea due to the receding lava lake and ensuing ashfall event, plus southerly wind patterns forecasted for Friday, the majority of the park will be closed Friday until further notice. We will reopen when it is safe to do so. Most of the park will be closed except for the Kahuku unit, which will be open for normal hours. The temporary closure of the Hawaii's Volcano National Park comes after the Kilauea volcano has been releasing toxic steam and lava for several days, causing widespread damage in the area. While Kilauea is normally an active volcano, the recent increase in activity has some experts predicting a large explosion soon. Hawaii Volcanoes Observatory Scientist-in-Chief Christina Neal told the Honolulu Star-Advertiser that scientists believe a small earthquake near the summit of Kilauea caused a large rock fall into the crater, which led to an explosion near the surface of the lava lake. Neal said, "I think it's our best estimation that this is the first of perhaps more events like this to come." For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the city of Los Angeles agreed on Thursday to pay $2 million to settle a civil lawsuit over the fatal police shooting of a homeless man in 2015 that went viral in an online video and fueled a U.S. debate on police tactics, according to a lawyer for the man's family. Dan Stormer, a lawyer representing the family of Charlie Africa Kunang, said the settlement came shortly after a federal jury in Los Angeles found that 2 police officers in the civil suit were liable for the death of the 43-year-old man. Stormer said in an interview, "The defense made an offer which we accepted. It was $2 million. The 8-person jury found that Officer Francisco Martinez had used unreasonable force against Kanang and that his superior, Sergeant Chand Syed, had failed to intervene. The jury cleared a third officer, Daniel Torres, in the deadly March 2015 incident. A spokesman for the Los Angeles Police Department said it would not comment on a civil suit. The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office had previously declined to charge the 3 officers with criminal charges. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A report finds it's not okay to just start talking to people you don't know, and a monstrosity is created in the Frito-Lay laboratory. This is the Onion Week in Review. Local newborn Nathan Jameson surprised the world earlier this morning by irrevocably losing all faith in humanity after just 6 days. Though he's not yet developed the capacity for speech, spokespeople for the 6-day-old baby have confirmed he already knows that humans cannot be trusted and that most people lack self-awareness about their own destructive tendencies.
While most people need around 30 or 40 years to truly understand that the vast majority of humanity is shallow and irredeemable, baby Nathan's convinced that he has seen all that he needs to see. People have been nice and even brought him toys and presents. But the fact is, Nathan knows they're all full of shit.
And in this week's science report, botanists discover trees are all slowly trying to strangle each other. In other news, a fun-loving turtle is all business when it comes to feeding time, and a partygoer rolls a couple of fat burritos to pass around.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us on the radio here, the toll-free number for you to take control of the airwaves as we launch into the second hour of the live Saturday edition is 855-450-FREE. That's toll-free, 855-450-3733. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. Our Discord on-air call-in line rooms in our Discord chat over at discord.lrn.fm. Over 660 of our listeners have jumped over into the Discord at some point within the last few months, and at least half of them have been back within the last, I think, 7 days. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So thanks to everybody who's participating over there. It's Ian and Mark in the studio here tonight. Coming up, senior citizens apparently are also suffering from bullying from other senior citizens. So you thought people grew out of it after middle school? Nope. We'll tell you about that coming up here. Also, the North Korean situation is getting a little bit better already, apparently. Now, we, of course, talked recently about the historic moves towards ending the Korean War, which, of course, for those who've been keeping track, has still been going on, technically, even though there's not, bombs and bullets flying across the border there. They were still in a state of technical war. They had never, ended that
back just an armistice
in the 50s. Yeah.
Truce.
And, a very unstable truce. You had...
It wasn't pretty, that demilitarized zone, and some people have been killed along there, some soldiers.
Over the years, yeah, that's true. And, of course, all the propaganda that's being blasted on both sides, that's been stopped. The loudspeakers that were pointed in either direction, both south and north, so speakers in the north pointed to the south, speakers in the south pointed to the north, they've been shut down.
And they were playing all sorts of propaganda.
Right.
And
K-pop in the case of South Korea.
K-pop is an act of war.
I happen to like some K-pop. But anyway,
Did you like NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys too?
No, I wasn't. Okay. I don't like the boy K-pop that much. But anyway.
Oh, I know what you like.
Yeah. So anyway, they've shut down the propaganda, the speakers from both sides on what I would consider to be a positive development. Of course, Kim Jong-un, the so-called supreme leader in North Korea, met with the president of South Korea, and they crossed the border together, which made Kim Jong-un the first person to knowingly cross the North Korean border and not get arrested for it. So, that's good. The symbolism has been very, very good so far. There have been multiple indicators that this is something that they're taking seriously, that maybe this time around Kim Jong-un is actually seriously going to look at nuclear disarmament, because previously North Korea has talked a game about disarming, but they've never actually followed through on their promises. And so here's the next big promise, and that is that North Korea is saying they're going to publicly, this from RT.com, close a nuclear test site on May 23rd through the 25th. They've invited journalists along to watch it happen. Pyongyang has invited foreign journalists, including those from the United States, to cover the event. It will involve collapsing all tunnels with explosions and blocking their entrances. All observation facilities, research buildings, and security posts will be removed, according to the Korean National State Press.
It's amazing. It's really great news.
Yeah. So, and this is in advance of the meeting, the expected summit with Donald Trump, which has now been announced for June 12th in Singapore.
I gotta say, I'm no Trump fan. I did not vote for Trump, but
me neither.
If his tweets brought this about in any way, shape, or form,
the tough talking tweets.
Yeah, he did more to earn the Nobel Peace Prize than Barack Obama did.
Yeah, that's not to say that either Obama or Trump should get a peace prize.
Nobody who's ever fired a
Right.
cruise missile or is responsible for firing a cruise missile
And he
should
has.
ever get a peace prize.
And Trump and Obama have both fired plenty of missiles and killed innocent people. So, yeah, I agree with you. They should not get peace prizes. But your point is, Obama did get one. So despite all the murder that went on underneath Barack Obama, he received a peace prize. So your point being that, if they're going to give Obama a peace prize, then arguably Trump's done more for peace than Obama did. With this,
as far as I'm concerned, any leader of any nation or group that's responsible for killing is responsible for that killing.
Yeah, they're disqualified from the peace prize.
idea that we live in a world where they give, and they have given multiple occasions, peace prizes to people in those positions just shows how far from peace we are.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. So they're saying they're going to shut this down May 23rd through the 25th. So we're talking about, 10 days from now, basically 2 weeks. They're going to be shuttering this North Korean test site. So that's great news, and it's on just a growing pile of good news coming out of North Korea. Very unexpected, very positive developments.
Yeah, that's not.
And they released the prisoners too this week. The American prisoners. They released the 3 that the Americans had requested that they release. They're back home.
Excellent.
Yeah,
that's really good news.
Yeah.
So,
and they're not like gaunt, and they don't look like horribly worked to death.
Can't wait to hear their stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously, just because they're shut down one of these sites doesn't mean that they've gotten rid of all their nuclear bombs or anything, or any.
It's symbolic.
Yeah, it's a start.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see the DMZ shut down like this too.
I hope so. It'll be wonderful. Let's go to John in Indianapolis, listening to WIBC FM. Hello, John.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Great, you're on the air.
Hey, so so I just wanted to see what your thoughts were on 2 topics. First, about Iran and Israel. I think it was like 3 days ago that they started shooting missiles at each other. So I just want to see what you guys think about that. And also, what are your thoughts on North Korea? Like obviously they let go of those prisoners. They're trying to make peace with the South. And like all these things are happening like back to back. So do you think it's kind of suspicious? Like, are they up to something?
Who's they?
Like what exactly are they trying
North
to do?
Koreans.
North Korea.
Okay. I am not suspicious. I think that China wants a better negotiating stance with Donald Trump. That's why Kim Jong-un was called to China to bring him into line on this issue. And that's why we see what we see going on. Kim Jong-un has made advances his entire short career in allowing the marketplace and that sort of thing in North Korea. It's not like they're huge advances, but they're certainly more than his father or his grandfather did. So
yep, that's true.
I'm not suspicious about this. That doesn't make me right. It just makes me not suspicious. Iran and Israel. These two have been at it for a very long time. Israel feels emboldened and Iran feels beset. So that, too, does not surprise me.
I'm interested. I find Kim Jong-un to be an interesting character because, he's inherited this just absolute mess.
He's a little prince, though.
Of a country. I mean, he's very well fed, was taken well care of when he was being raised. But ultimately, he's not really like the ideal successor. I was reading the book Dear Reader, which is excellent, by the way, by Michael Malice. It's an autobiography, basically, of Kim Jong-il, his father. Not actually written by him, but it's presented as though it were written by himself. And it's just absolutely fascinating. I think it was his first child. He's got 3 sons. And his first one was like out of wedlock or, with somebody he wasn't supposed to be having babies with. And so that one couldn't really inherit the throne, so to speak. And I forget what the reason the second one couldn't. So basically Kim Jong-un was like, last in line for this. And he was raised, of course, with the knowledge outside. He went to school outside of North Korea, which is unusual.
Switzerland, right?
Somewhere in Europe. And so he's had a different experience than a lot of North Koreans, a different experience than even his own father did as far as information he's been able to take in. And, of course, if he's in his 30s now, that means that he was cognizant enough in the 1990s at that time during the time of the famine. So I mean, he went through to some extent. I mean, obviously he was eating since he was part of essentially the royalty there. But maybe he's
traveling around though.
Yeah, maybe they weren't able to shield from him the realities of what was going on in the streets. I imagine they tried to do that, but who knows? So who knows what his actual opinions are? If you inherit North Korea, you got to remember you're inheriting all of the Communist Party and all of the apparatus that comes along with that, and he's got certain appearances to keep up, or else they might hang him. So I imagine he has to tread fairly carefully. If he is indeed a reformer of North Korea, he has to tread very carefully. And so I'm interested to see how all this plays out. John, I know you had another question about Iran, so stand by. We can bring you back here for that. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. 855-450-3733. And I think that a lot of credit should go to Dennis Rodman for all this. It's Free Talk Live. Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealestate.com.
LRN.FM.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We will allow you to call in and talk about anything. You can do that. Or just sit back and enjoy as we tell you about the things that we think are interesting. Coming up, we got bullying in senior homes, in nursing homes. Apparently it's still a thing, even at old age. That's on the way. Plus, we're talking about North Korea right now. And unfortunately, the gentleman who had a question about Iran just dropped off the line. But I think we should still answer his question. If you have any opinions about the Israel conflict, there's been some bombs flying around, I think. My opinion is I'm against bombs. I'm against bombings.
Generally,
I don't really follow all the ins and outs of all the international intrigue when it comes to which country's bombing which country at the moment. I just don't. I don't know if that makes me a bad talk show host, but as long as they're not falling around me, then I'm not that concerned. Thank goodness.
Yeah, I'd been traveling and hadn't heard about this right off the bat. Yeah. This is the kind of thing that I try to keep up on.
You do follow these things,
but there's not. It's not a. Everybody wants to pick sides in these things, and
Will Coley told me this week it was World War III.
It could be.
So I don't know. I mean, everybody's got an opinion about it. But my opinion is I don't support bombings. So there you go. Toll-free number if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE like freedom. I think that if, we didn't have the U.S. government going around and meddling in other countries' businesses, there probably would be less conflict in the world. I mean, you could argue that World War I would not have gone on for as long were it not for the United States getting involved. You could argue that World War II would never have happened if the United States hadn't gotten involved in World War I.
I don't know that World War I.
How would the Korean War played out if the U.S. hadn't been involved in that?
I would say that U.S.'s involvement in World War I created a cascade of effects that caused lots and lots of problems, including their intervention in Russia, probably leading to the Soviet Union.
That's because violence has unintended consequences when you use aggressive force against people and places.
It's true, but I mean, I think they got in for the very best reasons, but good reasons, good intentions.
The road hell's paved with good intentions.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and beyond that, the American people didn't want the United States to get involved, right? Didn't they elect Woodrow Wilson on campaign promises to stay out of World War I?
Sure. There were certainly plenty of American people that did want the U.S. involved in World War I, but probably
he was elected on that message, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's correct.
So that suggests that the anti-war sentiment was fairly, common.
Yeah.
Let's keep our kids out of this. I wouldn't want my son or daughter, I guess now, but my son back then going off and dying for some world leader, for some conflict halfway across the globe. It's ridiculous. And that wasn't the intention behind the Founding Fathers in the United States, who specifically wrote the Constitution to forbid a standing army.
They didn't specifically write the Constitution to forbid a standing army. Well, I'll tell you what.
Yes, they did, because it wasn't supposed to be standing. It could be formed.
Well, the Federalist Papers, by Hamilton and Jay and these sorts of things, were very clear that they did want a standing army, and the Constitution sprang from the Federalist Papers. So it was a compromise that the Army needed to be funded every 2 years in order to keep it operational, and that the Navy would be started and ongoing, in comparison. But
so what you're saying is some of them wanted it, but others didn't.
Yeah.
Right. And ultimately, the idea of not having a standing army
and governments
prevailed.
Grow.
Yeah, it prevailed, and then they just decided to go ahead and have a standing army anyway by continuing to fund it. So there was a loophole in there to allow it to happen. And not to say they need loopholes, they'll just do whatever it is they want to do. So the toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us, the Skype username is LRN.FM. But we're definitely going to keep an eye on what happens with North Korea here, because we've, on Free Talk Live, been reporting on North Korea for many years here on this program, just because it's fascinating. I mean, it's a fascinating in like a train wreck kind of way, because ultimately you are talking about people's lives here. There are people who are, in prison camps in North Korea that are being fed 30 grains of corn.
You know what they're told on North Korean propaganda TV? The United States is the largest incarcerator of people on the planet.
That's true.
By a long stretch.
That's absolutely true.
Right. So the thing is that it's interesting to sit from the United States in the seat of prosperity and look at the strange jumble of weirdness that is North Korea, but at the same time, their propaganda TV has some interesting critiques of the United States and its problems. And I'm sure that plenty of people around the world look at what's going on in the U.S. and say, it's fascinating to watch these people put up with this weirdo.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm not trying to act as though there aren't problems in the United States prison system. There definitely are, and we've pointed out many of the corrupt cop stories. We were talking about the Innocence Project, I think it was earlier this week, which, of course, is an organization that our co-host Daryl Perry is raising money for to help them get more people vindicated and exonerated from false charges that they've been convicted of and have been sent to prison for. So that happens here, and it happens in North Korea. It's just that probably a lot of the prison conditions in the United States are, even though they're imprisoning more people and enslaving them, they're probably a little bit better. You're probably eating better than 30 kernels of corn every day or something like that in an American prison.
Indeed.
That's all I'm saying.
But, well, I just went through the Eastern State Penitentiary yesterday, and this is the Quaker model of prisons that was developed in the early 1800s. It was opened in 1829.
Where is this?
This is in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And,
a Quaker prison.
Well, the Quakers were very successful in Pennsylvania and basically ran the government. They needed to come up with something to deal with antisocial people. And I'm sorry, you just can't ignore it.
Nope, you can't. They will not be ignored.
They will not be ignored, so you have to come up with something. Their idea was, well, we like sitting in silence because we're Quakers. I got an idea. Let's create a place where we keep people in isolation for a period of months and don't let them speak. They had a lot of cases of insanity.
Yeah, that's generally considered torture.
No,
right?
It is now, but at the time it was progressive.
Right.
No stocks, no pillory, right? No torture, public hangings.
It is important to look at history like that in perspective, and looking at that, from their perspective, it was progressive in the same way that the Muslims were progressive for their time as far as how women were treated. So even though some people will look back and say, well, Muslims treat women bad, well, at that time, it was actually moving the ball forward.
Now, let's move the ball forward a little more, shall we?
Female treatment.
So, I think that we'll look at the way that prisons are done today and really wonder. One thing I was struck by at this display was the amount of people that were in prison in 1970 versus today for victimless crimes. It was probably 8 or 9 times as many people in U.S. prisons for victimless crimes now as then.
Yeah.
But the number of people in for, violent crimes, that was about the same as a percentage of the population.
Okay. So there's way more people in prison because of victimless crimes, is what you're saying.
Right. Like we have, just the United States incarcerates people for victimless crimes. And that needs to stop. They're not a danger to their community. That's what a prison should be used for, is to separate somebody who is a danger, right?
The Jeffrey Dahmers, those people.
Even thieves should probably be locked up with ankle bracelets in their own homes. Let them pay for the power.
There's more on the way here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. You can join us on the radio. This is Free Talk Live.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
If you live in Williamsburg, chances are good you've seen them. Giant piles of beard hair rotting in the streets. Don't worry, it just means hipster molting season is here again. Experts say the husks of dead beards don't pose a threat to public safety and are just part of the natural life cycle of these strange organisms.
Once a year, all at the same time, every 20-something urban male sheds his ironic beard to make room for larger, more fanciful facial hair. They need the beards. They're a tough exoskeleton that protects these young people from the non-whimsical realities of life.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says it's the largest molting season on record. In Brooklyn, sanitation crews are working overtime to clean up the loose whiskers the exuviating males have left behind. The affected youth's molting season comes right before their mating season, when the males use their lush beards to impress the local hordes of burlesque females.
This is the Onion News Network.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free. Join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, we'll talk about bullying, actually, surprisingly, being found in nursing homes. With you in the studio tonight, though, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Don't forget, if you are a liberty-minded person, if you're an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, then you ought to go over to liberty.menu, where you can list your business or businesses or your digital content that you create, or maybe even events that you're involved in promoting. You can list all of those things and more over at liberty.menu, and then other liberty-minded folks are going to see it when they go and browse the site. So it might bring you new business from people that didn't know that you were a freedom-loving person. Go to liberty.menu. It's super easy to use. There's also a bit of a social networking aspect. Of course, you can rate and review the businesses that you have done business with over at liberty.menu. Once again, that's liberty.menu. And did I mention it's free? Because it is. So really, there's no reason not to go there.
It's great service.
And put your stuff up there on liberty.menu. You know, I was just looking a little bit further here. You know, what other stories are in the news about North Korea? And there's an interesting piece out of the New York Times entitled "South Korea Hands Kim Jong-un a Path to Prosperity on a USB Drive." In Seoul, South Korea, for years, Kim Jong-un, North Korea's leader, has been cracking down on USB flash drives that activists smuggle into his isolated country to poison his people's minds with outside influences like South Korean K-pop music. Remember reading an interview with a young lady who had escaped from North Korea, which is, by the way, a very risky thing to do because if you escape, then you still have family in North Korea. In a lot of cases, they'll go ahead and put them in a prison camp. So there's a real deterrent to people escaping sort of on their lonesome. But she managed to get out, and she cited these flash drives as her eye-opener because people have been smuggling these drives into to North Korea with television shows, movies from South Korea and Hollywood on them, music, of course. And she was surprised to see women in these shows wearing things that were she couldn't have even fathomed, right? Like she'd never seen blue jeans.
Yeah, non-traditional dress. Yeah.
Right? Blue jeans, forbidden for people to wear that in North Korea. You can only have hairstyles that are approved by the North Korean government. So, I mean, the idea that you could express yourself in these ways was a real eye-opener for her. It didn't have anything to do with the ideas of democracy or anything like that. It was just, my God, people can do this?
People like the trappings of freedom more than they like, freedom. Honestly, it's the stuff that freedom brings that they want.
The comfort.
Yeah.
And all that. Last month, when he met with the South's president, Moon Jae-in, Mr. Moon handed Kim Jong-un a USB flash drive that contained quite a different message. In charts and video clips, Mr. Moon's memory stick laid out a, quote, new economic map for the Korean peninsula, unquote, including new railways and power plants for the impoverished north, should Mr. Kim abandon his nuclear weapons, according to South Korean officials. Mr. Moon based his sales pitch on the belief that Mr. Kim wants to become the North Korean equivalent of Deng Xiaoping, who oversaw the economic liberalization of China. In this view, Mr. Kim may be willing to transform his pariah state by trading in his nuclear arsenal for diplomatic and economic incentives that he needs to achieve prosperity. I mean, this would be one of the smartest things that he could possibly do.
Yep.
If he can end whatever overt one-upsmanship and verbal conflict with the United States and South Korea and Japan that they've been having for the last 5, 6, 7 decades or whatever, if he can end that and actually open up trade with these places and also have some liberalization of being able to, own property or whatever. That might be too much to ask, but, in North Korea, having more ability to create without having to ask the government's permission, because as you pointed out, he has allowed for markets to operate.
Right.
That's only unofficially by looking the other way. So, the sort of the unofficial tactic in the government is to ignore the black markets that are going on because that's what's getting people fed. So they understand it. That he seems to have some understanding of that, even though it hasn't officially become policy. But to end having the United States as an enemy and bring them into being able to trade with North Korea would open up such a wide variety of economic opportunity for the people in North Korea. It would be just unfathomably good, I think, for that to happen.
Yeah, it's the trick is always going from some type of tyranny to some type of freedom. How do you do it without creating this kind of chaos? We can see what happened in Russia, and it wasn't great.
After the fall of the Soviet Union?
Right. It was,
where people didn't know what to do when they were, walking into a McDonald's. They had no idea what ordering off of a menu basically was.
Sure, and basically gangsters took over, calling, they become called oligarchs now. But, I mean, what is the government except a gang that flies a flag out in front of its building?
Yeah.
But, different gangsters took over and people didn't know what to expect and didn't like it. And I think that some orderly progression's always great. But the problem with these orderly progressions is everybody who's administering this orderly progression still wants to keep their power in the process.
Yeah, that's a tricky balance.
It's a very tricky balance. Yes, it is.
It is a premise that will be tested when President Trump meets with Mr. Kim in a few weeks. When Mr. Moon met with Kim on the inter-Korean border on April 27th to help set up the North Korea-United States summit meeting, he handed over the USB drive to illustrate what benefits await Mr. Kim should he denuclearize. Quote, Kim Jong-un's desire to develop his country's economy is as strong as and ever stronger than his desire for nuclear weapons, said Lee Jong-suk, a former unification minister of South Korea. He continued saying, quote, but he knows he cannot achieve the kind of rapid economic growth in China that he envisions for his country while keeping his nuclear weapons because of the sanctions, unquote. Skeptics doubt Mr. Kim's xenophobic regime will ever surrender.
You can't eat a nuclear missile, right? And they're not particularly useful in that respect. But I can see why some tin-pot dictator someplace is going to want one, if only to keep themselves from being invaded by a coalition of independent democratic states.
Absolutely. But since the Inter-Korean Summit meeting, many South Koreans have started to believe that Mr. Kim is a trustworthy reformer. According to recent surveys, a number...
Except for his uncle. He blew up with some kind of anti-aircraft missile.
Yeah. Well, again, it's, I'm sure to some extent, the party that he's having to deal with there and acting like he's, more like his father than maybe he really... I don't know. I mean, who is this guy really? It's hard to really get any kind of... you can't put your thumb on him, basically.
Yeah, it's not like he's doing a lot of interviews.
Right.
I think that the only person to ask is Dennis Rodman.
Indeed. A growing number of South Korean analysts have also begun arguing that Mr. Kim wants to follow the model of the South's own past military dictators who focused on economic prosperity, or that Mr. Kim has convinced himself from China's experience that he can pursue economic growth while maintaining one-party rule. Such a theory was much harder to sell just months ago when the 34-year-old North Korean leader was more often depicted as a bloodthirsty dictator and nuclear provocateur. Since taking power in 2011, Kim has executed scores of top officials, including his own uncle. He has also tested a hydrogen bomb and long-range missiles.
It's hard for me to feel too bad when politicians get executed by other politicians.
Right, yeah, he was a party internal guy. He wasn't just his uncle.
Yeah.
Claiming that he could hit the mainland United States with nuclear warheads. Vilified as he was, however, Mr. Kim has also shown signs of being a reformer, granting farms and factories more autonomy, allowing more markets to open, and setting off a building boom in his showcase capital, Pyongyang. He exhorts his country to follow, quote, international development trends and global standards, and even admits to failing to deliver on his promise that his long-suffering people would, quote, no longer have to tighten their belts, unquote. Quote, my desires were burning all the time, but I spent the past year feeling anxious and remorseful for my lack of ability, said Kim in a nationally broadcast speech last year. A startling admission for a member of the family that has ruled North Korea with the help of a personality cult since its founding in 1948. And that's really an important point to make. These men have been positioned as gods by themselves to the North Korean people for generations now.
Yeah, basically no one's alive that was adult enough to remember before these guys came to power.
Correct. And they were... Kim Jong-il worshipped his father as basically a god and helped promulgate the idea that he was this longtime, forever president. He still, post, his death many years ago, the Kim Il-sung is his name, I believe. He's still considered to be the president. The people are still forced to, salute at his statues or bow to them and all that. So the fact that Kim could admit his faults publicly is pretty unusual for somebody in his position.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Healthcare reform is confusing. With the loss of the Obamacare mandate, those needing help can now choose an affordable alternative. By joining Liberty HealthShare, you're part of a community of health-conscious Americans all over the country who control their own healthcare costs and choices. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It is an association of self-pay patients who unite with like-minded people to share the cost of their medical needs. Neighbor helping neighbor. Learn more now by going to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
You've seen crazy diets to lose weight, At GCN Team, our healthy body weight loss system simply neutralizes the body, bringing down cravings. It has been proven that nutritional deficiencies drive appetite for carbs, sugars, and fats. Lose weight the easy way. Find us at gcnteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Fighting cravings is a fool's game. Give the body what it needs to be satisfied. Again, 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government, the real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free here. Bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got Skype, so feel free to Skype in to join us there. Skype username is lrn.fm. And there's our Discord on-air call-in line room at discord.lrn.fm. You can jump in there if you got comments. We're talking about North Korea coming up, bullying in nursing homes. Apparently that's a thing. Believe it or not. Zencash, by the way, is a cryptocurrency worth looking at. If you care about privacy, you need to be looking at Zencash. There are options out there in the world of private cryptocurrencies. Zencash is one of the most exciting ones. They've got the zero-knowledge anonymity style privacy, which is pretty cool stuff. It's some of the best technology out there. They've also got the voluntarist founding, meaning that people who love liberty were involved in the founding of Zencash. And you can see it for yourself by reading their white paper, which actually mentions voluntarism in their white paper at zencash.com. So everybody's got an equal opportunity to participate in the decision-making with Zencash, which empowers stakeholders and makes Zencash less susceptible to third-party influence. It's worth taking a look at. It's one of the newer cryptocurrencies on the scene, having started in just 2017. So go and do your due diligence and learn about Zencash at zencash.com. That's Zen with a Z, zencash.com. It's Ian and Mark in the studio here tonight, sharing a story on Kim Jong-un, kind of at, as they describe him here, at a crossroads, with making some very big moves internationally that could result, if he does honor what he says that he's going to do, which is he's apparently talked in meetings about denuclearizing the entire Korean peninsula and being a part of that. So if he moves in that direction, it could mean major economic prosperity for North Korea And, increased economic prosperity, of course, is also going to mean, increased internet access and all kinds of other things for the Korean people, which is a major paradigm shift for a lot of those folks. How many of the Korean people, the North Korean people specifically, are aware of what goes on in the rest of the world? I mean, we know the flash drives have been being smuggled in there, but what kind of penetration have they had? There's no way to study that kind of thing.
No, there's no way to know.
Because you don't want to go around telling your neighbors that you've got a flash drive.
But your neighbors may have them too.
Your neighbors may have them, but it's like you go and tell the wrong person, and then they go and they tell the police.
You're in a hard labor camp.
Yeah, and you go to prison. So
of course, the police have the hard drives too.
Probably some.
It's just like policing in America and the Western worlds. Drugs are illegal.
They're selling pot.
Police do drugs.
Exactly. So Kim actually admitted, Kim Jong-un, he admitted in a speech that, quote, "My desires were burning all the time, but I spent the past year feeling anxious and remorseful for the lack of my ability." As they point out here, a startling admission because he was not able to, be the magic supreme leader who can lead all of his people to prosperity by telling everybody what to do. It's never worked. Central control has never worked. Communism should have proven that enough times, but people still haven't learned the lesson where a central committee of bureaucrats cannot decide how an economy is supposed to work. It just doesn't work from the top down.
No, it doesn't.
And for him to actually admit that publicly is an unusual step for somebody in his position, which up until him has basically been vaunted as gods.
They've all made it. All these, communist regimes have all had to admit that it just doesn't work.
Well, I mean, whether they've admitted that during their tenure is another question, right? Maybe,
I mean, Gorbachev had to do it.
Did he?
Well, I mean, not verbatim or anything like that, but he, Ronald Reagan called the Soviet Union an evil empire, and Gorbachev is still at the table with him. It says something.
Nowhere is Kim's dilemma better seen than in his policy of Byung-jin, or parallel advance, which seeks a nuclear arsenal and economic development simultaneously. Under that policy, Mr. Kim has rapidly developed his country's nuclear weapons and ballistic missile programs, arguing that a nuclear deterrent would make his country feel secure enough to focus on rebuilding the economy. But the world has responded by imposing crippling sanctions. And that should be evidence there that prohibiting trade kills your economy, right? Because that's what sanctions do. They prohibit anybody from being able to do any kind of business with people in North Korea. And if all you have is what's going on within your borders, then you're crippled.
Yeah, absolutely.
Economically. And that's why people should not allow the same kind of behavior in the United States. When Trump's talking about protectionist policies here, that's moving in the direction of North Korea.
The first thing anybody should ever think that thinks about a protectionist policy, wherever it might be, is that free trade benefits the geographic area, the geopolitical designation that we're talking about, the country that we're talking about. Free trade benefits you even if the people with whom you're trading are not trading freely.
Yes.
Even if. I mean, how is the United States getting skinned by China? Explain exactly that to me. I mean, certainly China's on the rise on the world stage, but that doesn't affect the United States, in which things have gotten better all the time.
Yeah. Well, if everybody's economically advancing, then all the boats are rising.
Right. You can say things like, well, in my particular area, my business makes toasters in the United States, so we don't want toasters brought into the United States, so we want to keep it out. And then, yes.
It's so short-sighted to do that.
Well, absolutely.
You're ignoring the fact that.
It's not short-sighted. It's evil.
Sure,
I mean,
it's
end
selfish.
of story.
Yeah. Let's go to Dan. He's in Virginia Beach listening to WNIS. Dan, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Hey, good evening, guys. I always enjoy your show.
Thanks.
I'm listening to a lot of the conversation about North Korea, and even listening to you guys tonight about your free trade and stuff, which I totally agree with.
Mm-hmm.
But I think from a cultural standpoint, and I say this with firsthand knowledge of being in China at least, probably I'd say over 10 times, and assisted in smuggling people out of North Korea.
Really?
We don't have a concept. We when I hear terms like, oh, it's a communist regime and it's this, it is not that. he has presented himself and has made, and his father did as well. He is a deity.
Kim Jong-un?
Yes, that is how he is presented to his people.
Yeah, but people are starting to see
they've
through
done
that
it
with him, right? Because he's not.
Yes. Well, that's what I mean by culturally. When you started out as a 4-year-old child and you were taught that this person was a deity, it just doesn't fall away because you've got access to the internet.
Sure.
They don't have access to the internet.
It just doesn't work that way. And honestly, from my point of view, I'm wondering how he's even going to be able to, to pull it off. I know the Chinese have supported him and propped him up for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, but it's just amazing how when I listen to the radio shows and everything that I don't think there's any place other than some Old Testament stuff, like the old pharaohs or something, that even compared to what him and his father, and they did it methodically. They did it through media, through every available source to them. And if you've ever talked to someone from North Korea, they can, like, when you hear these stories about, yes, he tried golf one time, he made a hole in one, and that was it. That's not a joke there. That is what a lot of the population actually believe that he is.
Well, they've been trained. You're right. They've been trained to believe those things about the family. But it seems like, again, I'm on the outside, so I only go from what I can hear from the people who've escaped or whatever. It seems like the mythology of the Kims has weakened with Kim Jong-un because he was not, exactly the chosen boy, right? Like he was sort of the last in line, but ultimately somebody had to take his father's position. He wasn't. The people of North Korea weren't really raised as much to treat him as a god as they were with Kim Jong-il's father, Kim Il-sung.
Yes.
Right. So it's Kim Il-sung who's the goddiest of the gods, and then Kim Jong-il is still pretty godly, and now Kim Jong-un.
We're only at the third tier of heaven now.
Yeah, not quite so much.
Right.
And now I'm interested in hearing about you helping North Korean people escape. You were doing that in China. Tell me more about that if you can.
It's it's one of those things where it's like the Underground Railroad was here in America during the Civil War,
right.
And it is very dangerous to participate in it. And I have several members of our team that have literally been arrested because the Chinese don't like it anymore. I mean, if you got caught in the North Korean, you probably wouldn't come back.
Right.
So it's a network of individuals that come together, and it's mostly the North Koreans that get them to the border, and then, it's basically our job to get them somehow through China, possibly into Nepal or another area.
I've got more questions. I don't know if you've got time to answer them, Dan. I mean, it's a fascinating world. If you can stick with us, we'd love to have you. Up to you. More coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of May 11th through the 13th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.80 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,325 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $31, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,580. Antiwar.com reports one major argument against the United States withdrawing from the P5+1 nuclear deal with Iran was the impact it would have on U.S. relations with the other parties to the deal, including European allies. This appears indeed to be the case as Europe scrambles to strike back against the U.S. measures, with the U.S. talking new sanctions and U.S. officials ordering European companies to stop doing business with Iran. The European Union is already discussing legislation that would effectively block the U.S. from enforcing those measures. This legislation is believed to echo the 1996 legislation the EU used to block U.S. sanctions on Cuba from preventing EU business ties. Since the Iran deal was signed, EU companies have been scrambling to secure lucrative infrastructure deals. The United States largely prevented its own companies from reaching such deals and has tried to keep EU banks from financial deals that had nothing to do with the United States. Europe was annoyed at this before, and now that the United States isn't even a party to the deal, they are likely to be even less willing to brook U.S. interference. This is likely just the start of a broad rethink in U.S.-European relations. German Chancellor Angela Merkel warned on Thursday that she can no longer count on the U.S. to protect them. She added this is time for Europe to take its destiny into its own hands.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
UPI reports the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park will close on Friday because of potential steam and ashfall from the summit of Kilauea volcano. The National Park Service said in a statement, due to the possibility of a steam-induced explosion at the summit of Kilauea due to the receding lava lake and ensuing ashfall event, plus southerly wind patterns forecasted for Friday, the majority of the park will be closed Friday until further notice. We will reopen when it is safe to do so. Most of the park will be closed except for the Kahuku unit, which will be open for normal hours. The temporary closure of the Hawaii's Volcano National Park comes after the Kilauea volcano has been releasing toxic steam and lava for several days, causing widespread damage in the area. While Kilauea is normally an active volcano, the recent increase in activity has some experts predicting a large explosion soon. Hawaii Volcanoes Observatory Scientist-in-Chief Christina Neal told the Honolulu Star-Advertiser that scientists believe a small earthquake near the summit of Kilauea caused a large rock fall into the crater, which led to an explosion near the surface of the lava lake. Neal said, "I think it's our best estimation that this is the first of perhaps more events like this to come."
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the city of Los Angeles agreed on Thursday to pay $2 million to settle a civil lawsuit over the fatal police shooting of a homeless man in 2015 that went viral in an online video and fueled a U.S. debate on police tactics, according to a lawyer for the man's family. Dan Stormer, a lawyer representing the family of Charlie Africa Kunang, said the settlement came shortly after a federal jury in Los Angeles found that 2 police officers in the civil suit were liable for the death of the 43-year-old man. Stormer said in an interview, the defense made an offer which we accepted. It was $2 million. The 8-person jury found that Officer Francisco Martinez had used unreasonable force against Kanang and that his superior, Sergeant Chand Syed, had failed to intervene. The jury cleared a third officer, Daniel Torres, in the deadly March 2015 incident. A spokesman for the Los Angeles Police Department said it would not comment on a civil suit. The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office had previously declined to charge the 3 officers with criminal charges. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The Princeton Medical Institute has found that the most common deathbed regret, more than losing contact with family or spending too much time at the office, is never having sprayed a fire extinguisher all over the place.
Similar themes emerged in our interviews with dying patients. Some wished that they'd taken more risks. Others wished that they'd lived a life truer to their dreams. But almost every single person surveyed, regardless of their age or circumstance, said that their most significant regret was never having grabbed a fire extinguisher off a wall and blasted it around a room until it ran out of foam.
I've lived a good life. I was a nurse for 32 years. I have 3 beautiful children, but I've never smashed my elbow into a glass case, grabbed a fire extinguisher, and gone whoosh over everything.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the third hour here, live Saturday edition of the program. You're invited to join us. Been talking about some of the interesting developments with North Korea, and just kind of to briefly recap, in case you have not heard, they're working towards ending the Korean War. At least that's what was said when the summit happened with South Korea and North Korea, the South Korean president, the so-called supreme leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, getting together and holding hands as they crossed the DMZ, crossing from one boundary into another, and making history, as Kim Jong-un was the first North Korean dictator, or whatever you want to call him, to make such a move into South Korea since basically the Korean War began. I mean, essentially, I think since 1960, which is a little after it began, but regardless, very, very historic stuff going on over there. They've shut down the propaganda loudspeakers that were blasting propaganda from both sides into the others, from one side into the other side, and vice versa. And now North Korea's, in the most recent announcement, is saying they're going to shut down a North Korean nuclear testing site. And that's going to happen
big news.
This month, like within the next 2 weeks. And they're going to invite the U.S. and international media to come and witness that happen in advance of Kim Jong-un meeting with Donald Trump. And, of course, he's already met with Mike Pompeo. He also agreed to release the American prisoners that they'd been holding on to. So they released 3 American prisoners just this last week. That happened. So some pretty unprecedented stuff has gone on, and it leads to questions about Kim Jong-un. Is he a reformer? Because he certainly, was talking tough for a while there with the missile tests and all that, and the one-upsmanship, the sword rattling that was going on over the last several years that he's been in charge over there, and now all of a sudden he's turning into a very reasonable sounding diplomat.
Well, very reasonable sounding, more reasonable.
By comparison.
Yeah, by comparison, certainly. It's just that one doesn't – I don't know that being known as a reformer is a particularly valuable thing to be known as in North Korea.
Indeed. Let's go back to Dan. He is in Virginia Beach listening to WNIS. Now, Dan, you actually told us you were involved in helping North Koreans escape from North Korea and smuggle them through China because, as you pointed out, if a North Korean is found in China, then China will generally just go ahead and send them back to North Korea, where they'll end up in a prison labor camp at best, if not being put to directly to death. But how did you get involved in that?
I got involved with it through an individual that went there. I don't really want to say the organization, but it's an organization of people that that have the common welfare of the North Koreans, and that's their main objective, is to try to do whatever they can to help them.
Were you living in China at the time when you got into this, or did you get into this
no, because
in the U.S.?
You can't get the only way that you can even get into China is with a visa, and if you're even granted a 1-year visa, that's pretty miraculous. And then I know some people that have gotten 2-year visas and stuff, but usually you're only going to get it for a year, and you're going to have to come back out, usually for 6 to 8 months, and then you can reapply. And you always have to apply as a business, because that's the interest of the Chinese, to have businesses come there. So that part of it's kind of complicated. But when I was talking to you earlier about from a cultural standpoint, the Koreans don't see themselves as North Koreans and South Koreans. They see themselves as Koreans.
The Korean people.
Sure.
And the South Koreans love the North Koreans, believe it or not. They don't care for the government, but to them, that's their brothers and sisters.
Many of them literally are their brothers and sisters. Yeah.
Yes, they really are. And the only way you can get them out is to take them through China and get them back into South Korea. Anybody comes from the North is going to be accepted as a political prisoner or whatever. So if you can get them to South Korea, it's relative. Yeah.
So you were recruited to help with this while you were in the United States?
Yes.
And you flew out to China and settled in, wherever area of China is nearby the border. I'm not sure what, I'm not that familiar with the geography.
You can't. Yeah, you don't just like, I'm going to go to the border there. No, you have to go in with a purpose. You have to go in with a reason, and there's all kinds of different types of tourists there. There's if you can present a legitimate business plan to the Chinese government, you'll probably be granted a visa.
So you were there under the auspices of business. You had a cover story.
Yes.
And you were able to connect with this network. Now I know that Liberty in North Korea is one of the public organizations. Obviously, there's the ones that are behind the scenes that are helping out and doing things. But for those people that
it's not.
Go ahead.
You can register with the Chinese. You can register with the Chinese government for different things. There's an official church in China that's registered with the government, and there's all kinds of organizations. But if you want to get people out of North Korea, your chances of being registered as one of those types is going to be very slim. So you just have to go under the auspice of, you go in as a business. I mean, China's a massive country, so it's very easy to go different things and to change your agenda while you're there.
Right.
And, and even sometimes you'll have, even when we're driving, you can, you might have, I'd say 3 or 4 Westerners with one driver's license, because, we're referred to as the big noses, and we kind of all look alike to them.
They all look alike.
That's funny.
So tell me, so what was your role? I mean, were you a driver? Were you taking people, shuttling them?
My particular group that I was with was once, because you can't, a person like me cannot be in certain areas of China. But
stick out like a sore thumb or a big nose.
Yeah, you stick out. Oh, yeah, you really do. So, but if you're there and you're doing certain things, and they get them out, then there's a way to assimilate them as part of your group. There's a lot of different ways to do some different things, from a curiosity standpoint, I'm sure for you guys, it's like, it doesn't even seem possible, but it's all part of what makes it work. And the point I was just trying to make is when you talk to the individuals, because we only see the political people, and that's a big thing, and the media covers it.
Sure.
There's a lot of other people that just get out and to hear their stories and to hear, that there's basically two classes of people in North Korea. The ones that support the ones that can live. I mean, it's and I don't know, like, what his particular interests are. I'm sure they're self-serving, regardless of what they are. And in our group, we truly believe that the Chinese are the ones that have caused the accident that happened at the very beginning on that mountain to cause this to come about. So
I'm not familiar. Which mountain?
The mountain. When you were talking about they're going to blow up all the tunnels and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, there was a major accident at that mountain about a month ago. It might have been 6 weeks ago where it started burning, and it's already started to collapse, and the radiation was going. It's actually right at the border with China, and there's a reason it's at the border with China. But there was a so-called accident, and a lot of people in the organizations that we were affiliated feel that the Chinese have made it very clear to him that this is not going to continue any further. That the Chinese are very much behind a lot of the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch this. Dan, if you ever have a story you want to tell us about helping people escape, would love to hear it in the future. I thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. These are people that are doing important work, and kudos.
The way he was talking about the North Korean people and how they're separate and distinct from their government, and how he loved them and that sort of thing. That's how I feel about people from Massachusetts.
Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom, except we don't want those people to come into New Hampshire.
Oh, I do. I want the people from the massholes that want more freedom. They're welcome in New Hampshire.
Yeah, but some of them bring their pro-state ways with them. They just want to shred more freedom. They don't want to actually be free. More coming up here in moments. We want the people who actually understand liberty to move to New Hampshire, not just somebody who wants a little bit more freedom. Y'all can stay where you are. More coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block, and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dinovite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies,
grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it,
and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dinovite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic
and Cindy Lukasevic,
inviting you and your pets to Dinovite.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Good technology is good, but the philosophy behind the tech is important. And Zencash was made by voluntarists with the ideas of voluntary interaction being embedded into the white paper. With no central authority or single point of failure, Zencash is more resilient than a traditional corporation. Everyone has an equal opportunity to participate in decision-making, which empowers stakeholders and makes Zencash less susceptible to third-party influence. And Zencash allows for secure private transactions. Learn more at zencash.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want as we continue to hear your calls and thoughts. Welcome. Whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Yesterday, I had my brand new Snake Plissken t-shirt on that I got from $6 Shirts. There's some really great shirts over at $6 Shirts. And when I say gigantic selection, that's not an exaggeration. They really have a tremendously large selection of shirts there that many of which are quite funny and entertaining and pop culture related, video game related, sports related, politics related, all kinds of different categories. You're going to find something you love, most likely, over at $6shirts.com. That's the number $6shirts.com. Use code FTL, like Free Talk Live, to get 10% off. And you can feel extra good because you're buying from people that actually care about freedom. And they do accept Bitcoin, by the way, over at $6shirts.com. Again, code FTL to save 10%. That's the number $6shirts.com. As we continue, we'll take your calls and thoughts about what you want. We've been talking about Kim Jong-un, what I would allege is a reformer, almost like a slow, plodding reformer who seems like he's trying to break through the old ways of North Korea without getting himself killed and trying to change things. At least that's the direction that things seem to be going more openly now than before. Chung Sung Chang, senior analyst at the Sejong Institute in Seoul in South Korea, this is a story from the New York Times, says Kim Jong-un's at a crossroads. He could advance his nuclear weapons program further and face a deeper isolation and possible economic ruin. Or he could use it as a bargaining card to win normalized ties and a peace treaty with the United States and economic recovery, unquote. If Mr. Kim pursues the route of economic reform, energy and transportation are the two areas where he most needs outside help. In his meeting with Mr. Moon, who's the South Korean president, Mr. Kim admitted to the, quote, embarrassing, unquote, condition of their roads and railways in the north. Trains running on electricity remain North Korea's main means of transport, carrying 90% of their cargo and 60% of their passenger traffic, according to Lee Byung-min, senior analyst at the South Korean government's Korea Transport Institute. But its rail systems are so decrepit that its fastest train, which runs to the Chinese border from Pyongyang, travels at 28 miles an hour. I was just on an
Amtrak train that was up at about 120 recently.
Other trains run at less than half of that speed.
Yeah, that's pretty slow.
So 28 miles an hour is their fast train.
You'd think with all that labor that they have, that they could keep infrastructure, important infrastructure like, I don't know, the trains that move 90% of their goods and people around the country, I mean, that's pretty important infrastructure. 90%. I mean,
you'd think.
Who cares about roads at that point? 90%. I mean, all you're talking about is track here. Laying track. Trains don't just take a left turn and go off someplace. They have to be on the track. So all you have to do is have level track. They've got shovel. I mean, the Transcontinental Railroad in the United States was finished in 1856. You know, if I'm off by a few years, you guys will forgive me. I mean, it wasn't. There wasn't a lot of equipment that went into laying track.
Yeah,
it was basically
labor.
Basically the strong backs of immigrants. You know, the Irish coming over here.
Chinese.
Chinese.
Blacks.
Yep. Lots of those folks doing lots of stuff, laying this track all over the place.
But there was also an economic incentive involved there, right? There's
still an economic incentive.
Sure, but there's more individualized economic incentive. I mean, I'm not saying that the the train situation in the U.S. wasn't rife with corruption and government favors and paybacks and all that stuff. But at the very least, there was some level of competition involved there. Whereas in North Korea, you don't have that. You just have the central ruling party that makes decisions, and central control has been an abject failure from top to bottom every time it's been tried. Let's go to Bob in North Carolina. Throwing a bunch of labor at something, if you just don't have the right incentives, still isn't going to solve the problem. Bob, you're on Free Talk Live listening to WSIC.
Howdy.
Hey, Bob, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, they come up with this thing that they put out here a while back about all the congressmen and the senators and stuff, and they had a slush fund out of taxpayer money where they was paying people off whenever they got caught in the wrong or whatnot. How come has died out?
I remember hearing about that story. Yeah, where it was like an official way to pay people off to keep them quiet. I remember that.
Yeah, and they was hiding it or something, and they wouldn't even publish who all it was that got caught up in all this.
Yeah, they're protecting each other.
The government's protecting its own.
That I'm going to tell you what, there'd be some big changes if the politicians up there in Congress and the Senate and everything, if they was on Medicare and drawing Social Security for their retirement, you'd see some big changes made.
Indeed.
Yeah, but there's two sets of rules, right? There's the set of rules for those people, and then there's the set of rules for the rest of us.
Well, there's a law on the books about they're not supposed to pass any laws that separates them from the general public also.
Well, obviously, if there is a law on the books like that, I don't know if I buy that there is, but even if there is, they're clearly ignoring it, and nobody's going to enforce it on them. It's like, how do you enforce the law on the people who write them?
Yeah, Charlie Rangel was found with evading taxes. Member of Congress. No one.
He's still there, isn't he?
They sanctioned him.
There you go. You can't have a what? I mean, sanctions against a congressperson are way different than sanctions against like North Korea, right? Where you can't eat with those sanctions.
Yeah, sanctions just saying you're bad.
It's a finger
you
wagging.
did something bad.
You bad boy.
You know, I was up there in Korea in 68 and 69 at Panmunjom where they had the peace talks. And there is a line of demarcation up there, and the troops and whatnot is back and forth across this all the time. The North Korean troops, American troops, the ROK troops and stuff. He was talking about earlier said that Kim stepped across the line over into South Korea.
Yes, he did.
And the president of South Korea stepped over there. Well, they go back and forth a whole lot. And there has been a whole pile of people killed in the DMZ up there in Korea since the end of the war, or the ceasefire or whatever. And a lot of them was killed up there. That joint security area used to be Camp Kitty Hawk, and they changed the name to that captain that got killed up there when they was having that axe fight up there over.
Oh yeah, the axe situation where some of the American soldiers got killed, correct, on the North Korean side.
Yeah, they changed the name of it to Camp Boniface. But,
Bob, I want to thank you for the history. I appreciate hearing from you. Thanks for weighing in tonight. The toll-free number 855-450-FREE like freedom. Let's go to Vernon. He's in New Orleans. Vernon, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
How is it that President Trump, Donald Trump, has the authority to make these type of a decisions directly with Kim Jong-un and not go through Congress. I've never really understood that. I thought for some reason Congress had to do the treaties. I don't even know if you all know the answer
I think
to
they
that.
ratify the treaties, but the treaties have to be presented, and the president has a great deal of latitude to negotiate the treaty, put it together, that kind of thing, and then the Congress should ratify it.
Vernon, if you had more, stand by. We can bring you back. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us here, the latest on North Korea and the changes that are afoot, some of them very, very positive sounding, you can take control of the airwaves with us. Bring up whatever's on your mind. This is Free Talk Live's live Saturday show.
Frustrated trying to get business capital? Want to take the slow process and rejection out of the equation? GCNLoans.com removes the slow, irritating approval process. Instead, get quick, simple funding. Powered by David Allen Capital, 80% of our pre-qualified clients are approved in days. Pre-qualify at GCNLoans.com and get your money this week. It's that easy. GCNLoans.com. That's GCNLoans.com.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original, most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Negotiation isn't just something union leaders and sports agents do. Your entire day is a series of negotiations. If you have young children, you know that. In fact, your kids can teach you a lot about negotiating with grown-ups. According to the world's greatest negotiator, Herb Cohen, author of You Can Negotiate Anything. Herb says that kids understand the process of decision-making within an organization. When one parent says no, they'll ask the other. And Cohen says children persist and persevere. And like smart negotiators of all ages, kids know that no is an opening bargaining position. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're a job seeker. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free if you want to join us on the radio waves here. Take control of the airwaves. Our number 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And the Skype username here is lrn.fm. There's also our Discord on-air call-in line room. Just go to discord.lrn.fm. You will find a bunch of different rooms in which you can chat with other listeners of Free Talk Live there 24/7, around the clock, before, during, and after the show. It's all there and free for you at freetalklive.com. Coming up, we've got, about a month now until ForkFest? ForkFest 2018, the second year of this decentralized camping event for libertarians in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire at a place called Rogers Campground, which is just an absolutely beautiful location. But, of course, the best part is being around people who are of like mind, people who are libertarians, voluntarists, liberty-loving anarchists, people who care about freedom, all together on a campground for 5 days. It's going to be June 14th through the 18th. It actually happens right before the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which is also another great liberty event. But they've got a lot more organization there with like organizers and boards of directors and things like that. ForkFest is completely unorganized. There's nobody who decides what to do except for you, the individual. You come there and you figure it out. Do you want to just kind of hang out and camp out with people? You can do that. That's easy. If you want to create some opportunities for other people to enjoy each other's company, like by throwing a party or putting together some other kind of an event, maybe a speaking gig or whatever, musical performance, whatever you want to put together, it's completely up to you. And there are resources where you can connect with other people who are attending ForkFest. There's the ForkFest Telegram chat room. There's a ForkFest chat room on our Discord server. There's a ForkFest forum where people are plotting like whether or not they're going to be feeding each other. Like, are people going to be providing services for food there? That's something that's being discussed. And I believe Will Coley from the Call to Freedom is going to be running his food outlet there this year. So at the very least, there's going to be at least one, if not more than one person who's providing food this year. That didn't really happen last year. Last year, it was kind of a last-minute thing, which barely got promoted. This year, year number 2, there's lots more promotion that's happening of ForkFest. And nobody's in charge, so that means everybody's in charge. So you decide what happens. Go to forkfest.party. You can learn more about the event there. Again, it's June 14th through the 18th, so that's coming up fast. Go ahead and mark your calendars now and plan to be there and get connected with the ForkFest community over at ForkFest. That's ForkFest with an F, F-O-R-K, forkfest.party. So we continue with Vernon. He's in New Orleans. Your comments on Kim Jong-un and the North Korean situation, Vernon, go ahead.
Yes, one of my main concerns about I'm so glad that Trump and Kim Jong-un have set this meeting up, but I'm really concerned about him going in there and treating it like it's make a deal and it's like a TV show, and he's going to go in there and say you're fired or something really crazy like that and start a war. And then it's also like I was talking about earlier. It's just crazy that he'll be able to strike that deal without any sort of approval from Congress.
Well, I mean, Trump has taken this deal farther than Barack Obama or any other successor in the past. I've got to give him props.
Successors come after.
Predecessors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, any of the predecessors, and so I'm going to give him props for that, and I think that he's probably going to be good enough
just for getting to the table.
Handle this.
Yeah, I mean that's something.
Trump's a laughing stock, but don't buy everything.
So's Kim Jong-un. They got a lot in common. There's plenty of people who make fun of both of them.
As far as I'm concerned, these peacocks that are running around in Europe are just as laughable bunch of gang leaders as any of them.
Sure, but you don't know their names.
They act like they know how to do governance, but their people didn't even have the guts to pick up and leave a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah, but how many of their names do you know?
Macron.
Who's that?
That's the French one.
Oh, what's his Macron?
Okay. Macron.
Gotcha. I saw his name this week for the first time. I didn't even know who he was. I saw somebody talking about Macron, and I didn't even know who that person was. But Kim Jong-un, everybody knows that name. You got to give at least some credit for that. Maybe they'll compare memes with one another while they're at the meeting. Have a good old time.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a war.
You really think that they're going to strike some sort of a deal, and Trump? I feel like Trump is just going to really want the credit for it, and I think that's really what we have going in our favor is his ego.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they will strike a deal because I think they've been told to strike a deal.
Vernon, thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. It's in Kim Jong-un's best interest to strike this deal as far as if he actually does want prosperity for the North Korean people, because he cannot possibly believe that the same old methods are going to result in something new. He must have seen enough failure at this point, and he's obviously willing to change his approach because it's drastically shifted in just the last 2 months. So it's very interesting watching this develop. There's a little bit more here from the New York Times about the deal or potential deal on the table between the South and the North Koreas. Lacking cash for oil imports, North Korea produces all its electricity from hydroelectric dams and coal-burning power plants, but the country's power industry is trapped in a vicious cycle, say energy experts. Chronic electricity shortages, communism, make it difficult to produce coal and transport it to power plants. People in search of firewood for heat and cooking have denuded their hills, causing floods and droughts and making silt pile up at dams. That cuts down on the hydroelectric generation. North Korea's electricity generation amounts to only 4.4% of South Korea's, according to Park Yun-jung, an analyst at the South Korea Development Bank. And just look at the satellite photo from nighttime with the Koreas, where there's basically no lights on even in Pyongyang, and in South Korea it's just light everywhere.
Yeah, it wouldn't be difficult for South Korea to light up North Korea's grid, at this point, basically in exchange for some concessions. Now, obviously, once the grid's lit up, then everybody else is going to want some power, and it's going to keep growing and growing, and obviously at some point or another, somebody's going to have to pay for something. But there's lots of reasons why North Korea would want to get this deal going.
According to the story here, the country prioritizes supplying electricity to lighting statues of Mr. Kim's father and grandfather.
It's like the American flag. It's got to be lit all the time.
Who had ruled before him, while passengers wait in hours for trains unable to move because of power shortages, according to defectors from the country. Lee Jong-hyun, an energy analyst in Seoul, says electricity is the Achilles heel for North Korea. Mr. Moon's proposal to modernize the North's roads and railways and link them to the South is not meant just to help North Korea. South Korean policymakers say that the two Koreas must first integrate their economies to make eventual reunification less chaotic. They also envision building trans-Korean railways to find faster and cheaper routes to export South Korean goods to China, Russia, and Europe, and bring Russian oil and gas into the South through pipelines for its power-hungry economy. But that is unlikely to happen until the North denuclearizes. In 2007, the two Koreas temporarily connected two short stretches of railway at the border, but further efforts to reconnect the two systems have been suspended amid rising tensions over the North's nuclear program. In 2004, South Korea opened a joint industrial park in the North Korean town of Kaesong and sent electricity to run it, but the park was then closed after the North's nuclear test in 2016. Now, with Mr. Kim reportedly willing to discuss denuclearization, there are renewed hopes in the South. Let's go to John. He's in Delaware, listening to WDOV. Hello, John. You're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, hey, guys. Yeah, I just wanted to call into regards kind of like to what Vernon was just saying, the gentleman that just called previous to me, and how he's already starting in May say what Trump's getting ready to do with this Kim Jong-un deal before he even gets there. He's just like everybody else. Why don't he come up with his own opinion, Vernon? He comes up with the whole deal about how Trump just wants to take credit for it. How many newspaper articles did he read in the liberal media, and how many shows did he watch on the news and hear the same typical opinion? Come up with your own idea, man, first off. Second off, no one else was capable of even getting Kim Jong-un to the table in the first place. The guy's getting ready to do something big, and he gets absolutely no credit for it. Just like everything else in all his other policies. They go ignore it in the media because the liberals can't stand the guy because he's finally starting to make change and the country's starting to notice. I don't go either way, man. Conservative, liberal, Democrat, Republican, it makes no difference to me. The guy's starting to make changes. People are starting to get some cash back in their pockets. And it's time to start giving the man a little credit.
Well, I give him credit where credit's due. I think that this is very positive development. I don't know about the cash back in their pockets because I just saw a headline saying that the U.S. government collected more taxes than like ever. More coming up.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we
we tried failed, except the Dynavite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free, packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Aging is one thing that affects everyone. George has talked about the power of stem cells for years. Now, there's a new serum that harnesses that stem cell power to bring back your youthful look. Beverly Hills doctor Nathan Newman.
Stem cells are basically our fountain of youth. This is what maintains our body's reparative, regenerative abilities. As we age, every cell breaks down and needs to be replaced, and what replaces it is the stem cell.
Dr. Newman and Janess have developed Lumin-S. Lumin-S takes the science of stem cells, using the same growth factor complex that literally heals our cells, slowing the appearance of the aging process. Apply Lumin-S twice daily, and on average, see results in a week. Learn more, watch our video, and order today at a special Coast website, healthylooking.com. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, that's healthylooking.com. Lumin-S, for a healthier, much younger, better-looking you. Buy now at healthylooking.com.
Free Talk Live.
Do you guys have a zombie plan? I'm just wondering what this country's going to do if we had some sort of apocalypse like that.
Like a zombie attack.
Do?
People coming out of the ground, like in Thriller, like in Michael Jackson's
like 28 days later, like a virus or something.
Oh, okay.
I mean, people don't come back to life.
Well, now, there are different kinds of zombies out there.
Now,
but let me go through the types of zombies. I mean, you've got the ones that can crawl out of the ground, right? And then she was talking about like an infection kind of zombie, like a la Resident Evil, for instance. So ideally, if you're going to have to perish at the hands of a zombie, which would be the preference? Would you prefer to have your brains eaten, or would you prefer to become one of them?
I think I'd rather just die. The last thing I'd want is, of course, the people you split up with. Then I'm talking my wife and my child. I'm coming back. I'm wanting to eat Laura's brains. It's bad. It's bad.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain. We got enough time for you if you want to join us here. You can take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM or Discord at discord.lrn.fm. In fact, we're going to jump into the Discord on-air call-in line coming up here in just a moment. With you tonight, though, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Don't forget, if you like what we do here on Free Talk Live, please amp the show over at amp.freetalklive.com. Really would appreciate your support. Only a very, very small portion of our listeners ever amp the show, and it makes a big difference for us. You know, we give you all the features on our website for free. You want to go and download archives back to 2006? Do it. You can have as many as you want. You want to watch the webcam? It's all there for you. It's there for you whenever we're live. You can even watch it later on via our YouTube channel. Or again, watch us live on our Twitch feed, which is in HD quality at twitch.lrn.fm. So we give you all the features on Free Talk Live up front. And then we just kind of ask, if you support what we're doing, please get behind the show at amp.freetalklive.com. You get some cool perks. So like you get the special AMP access to the Discord chat, where there's special AMP-only chat rooms. You get that. You also get access to the AMP-only Facebook group if you're into Facebook. If you are on our forum, you get a special Free Talk Live badge, because it's a larger forum than just Free Talk Live, so that identifies you as a Free Talk Live amplifier there. And there's other perks as well, like the AMP-only podcast and more. Go get all the details and get signed up for AMP with PayPal or credit card. Also, Bitcoin Core will accept that for AMP as well over at amp.freetalklive.com. It's only $5 a month. That's the cost of a fancy cup of coffee. If you think we're worth that every single month, we sure would appreciate your help. It makes a big difference for us. amp.freetalklive.com. As we continue here with Gene, the Christian anarchist. He's on the line on our Discord chat. Hello, Gene. Do we have Gene? Oh, Gene has his microphone muted. I should have noticed that before I went over there to him. Hopefully he'll be able to remedy that situation, and we'll get him on here shortly. There you are.
Now.
There we go.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
All right, I was going to say, all you listeners that like to listen, get on that AMP bandwagon.
Thanks.
It's not much money, and it's a good cause.
I appreciate
I've been happy to be an AMPer all these years. And besides, who else is going to let me call in like you guys do?
Well, I mean, we let anybody call in, so I mean, don't take that personal. But
you are one of our most consistent callers throughout the years.
And you're a good caller, too. You always have interesting things. And you've actually been to China, so you've got kind of international experience and lots of stories to tell.
Yeah. And I was going to talk about China.
I figured you might.
The other guy was talking about the smuggling of North Koreans, and I don't have, all of my trips to China, I've never run into that, but I know it happens. I've read a lot about it. And but it's I wanted to mention, it's getting tougher. It's getting a lot harder to travel through China without proper documentation, because if you buy a train ticket, you buy a long distance bus ticket, any kind of travel in China, you have to present if you're a Chinese citizen, you present your national ID card. If you're a foreigner like me, you got to present your passport in order to get those tickets. Now, I do have a third option, because I'm an unusual foreigner in that I have a Chinese driver's license, and I can actually rent a car and drive places in China. But most foreigners don't have that option.
So the U.S. driver's license is not respected over there?
Not allowed at all, any foreign driver's license. And that was quite a trip, too. I got my license about 4 years ago, maybe.
What was it like by comparison? I mean, the process of getting a license in the U.S. compared to in China?
In China, it's tougher, a lot tougher, because now I didn't have to do the driving test because I already had a U.S. driver's license. So that part at least helps, because you don't have to go out and actually drive a car. But I had to pass the written test. And the written
Did you have to take it in Chinese?
No, fortunately they have an English translation, but here's the rub.
Okay.
The English
you stinking foreigners coming into the country and you don't even speak the language.
Yeah, but here's the rub. The English translation is so lousy. It's so awful. It took me five times to pass. And you've got to get like 92%, and there's 100 questions. Each question is 1%. So you've got to get 92 out of 100 correct in order to pass. I mean, this is a tough.
Right, and then the questions aren't worded perfectly, so it makes it. The car goes sideways. What go up? You're right. Like I don't know.
Really, it took me 5 times to pass, and that's the main reason, is because I had to actually learn what it was they wanted to say in those horrible translations. And after a while, I did finally get the hang of it, because they'll say, talk about emergency braking, and they're not talking about pulling up the emergency level. They're talking about how hard you step on the brake pedal. So it's just really funny stuff like that, where you have to actually go through it a couple of times before you learn what they're trying to say.
Interesting.
And but their written test, the questions and stuff are pretty much based on American tests, and the same is true with their. I'm also a pilot, and for the listeners who don't know that. But you've got the FAA rules in this country, and they're actually transposed in China, so that their aircraft regulations and things come almost directly from the U.S. Even the same chapters and verses we'll talk about the exact same.
So it's boilerplate, is what you're saying.
Well, and pilots have to speak English around the world, right?
Really?
Well, English is the pretty much international language for air traffic control around the world. However, you go to places like China, it's all Chinese for the Chinese people, but the air traffic controllers do speak English for the foreign pilots. But if you listen to air traffic control in China, you're going to hear mostly Chinese. You'll hear the foreign pilots speaking English, but it's mostly Chinese.
So, Gene, any thoughts on North Korea, that situation as it's developing?
I just love what's going on in North Korea. About 7-8 years ago, we went to the DMZ, and that's the only time I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a sobering, strange thought to be sitting on that DMZ, and right on the other side are the North Koreans who basically are technically still at war. Well, they were then technically still at war with South Korea. Now, I guess technically the war is over.
Not yet. Not yet. They have not signed any kind of peace treaty or anything like that. So we're still waiting on that happening. But the initial steps have been taken. Gene, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you there. It sounded great on the Discord on-air call-in line room. You can join Discord. In fact, they were in there chatting in one of the voice chat rooms after the show last night. There were several people just talking with each other there.
Having their own little radio show.
That happens. Let's go to Zach. He's in New York. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark. Hello there, Zach.
Good evening. I just wanted to say how thankful I am that Donald Trump is president, and we would not be where we are right now with North Korea if Hillary Clinton was in office. And it was not that long ago that they were threatening to nuke Guam, and he used a textbook negotiating strategy, which is matching tone, and he became the crazy one in the conversation. His button worked, and now here we are, and potentially 25 million people could get freed from a lifetime of slavery and desperation. So thank you, Donald Trump.
You're thinking big. I mean, you're very optimistic, and I can appreciate the optimism. I don't know if ending the Korean War is going to lead to the Koreans in the North becoming more free to leave North Korea, but it would be nice if that could happen.
I am hoping that there's going to be a bunch of carpetbaggers who schlep themselves over there to take advantage of the opportunity to sell choco peas, rice, and just there's going to be such a massive amount of building and development to be done that hopefully it will become a gleaming, glistening place you can see from space, like South Korea. And they won't be 4 inches shorter than they're supposed to be from malnutrition next generation, hopefully.
Wow. Great point, Zach. Thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Does it really have to do more with Donald Trump or Dennis Rodman? Was he the real linchpin of all of this? For listeners who don't know, Dennis Rodman went over long before Mike Pompeo went over to North Korea. Dennis Rodman went over there, and I would say probably built some bridges. He palled around with Kim Jong-un. They hung out. They did a basketball exhibition where I believe Dennis and some of the others from the U.S. played along with the North Koreans in a sort of an exhibition game. And
like a Globetrotters kind of thing?
Yeah, that kind of thing. And I think that did something. I think that did something.
They should have brought the Globetrotters. There's no better show.
They are awesome, aren't they?
Yeah, it's an amazing show and well worth it and can be put on at any basketball court.
Yeah. Hey, we're out of time for tonight. Like I said, we're going to keep our eyes on this situation. I think it's one of the more interesting developments on the world stage at the moment. And we'll definitely keep doing that. Tomorrow night, you can join us between now and then online. In the meantime, over at freetalklive.com. We do this show live 7 nights a week. So if you weren't able to join us on the air tonight, don't worry. We'll be back tomorrow in 21 short hours. And we'll see you online over at freetalklive.com. Enjoy your weekend. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America. as well as sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Questioning Authority is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of May 11th through the 13th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.80 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,325 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $31, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,580. Antiwar.com reports one major argument against the United States withdrawing from the P5+1 nuclear deal with Iran was the impact it would have on U.S. relations with the other parties to the deal, including European allies. This appears indeed to be the case as Europe scrambles to strike back against the U.S. measures, with the U.S. talking new sanctions and U.S. officials ordering European companies to stop doing business with Iran. The European Union is already discussing legislation that would effectively block the U.S. from enforcing those measures. This legislation is believed to echo the 1996 legislation the EU used to block U.S. sanctions on Cuba from preventing EU business ties. Since the Iran deal was signed, EU companies have been scrambling to secure lucrative infrastructure deals. The United States largely prevented its own companies from reaching such deals and has tried to keep EU banks from financial deals that had nothing to do with the United States. Europe was annoyed at this before, and now that the United States isn't even a party to the deal, they are likely to be even less willing to brook U.S. interference. This is likely just the start of a broad rethink in U.S.-European relations. German Chancellor Angela Merkel warned on Thursday that she can no longer count on the U.S. to protect them. She added this is time for Europe to take its destiny into its own hands. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. UPI reports the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park will close on Friday because of potential steam and ashfall from the summit of Kilauea volcano. The National Park Service said in a statement, due to the possibility of a steam-induced explosion at the summit of Kilauea due to the receding lava lake and ensuing ashfall event, plus southerly wind patterns forecasted for Friday, the majority of the park will be closed Friday until further notice. We will reopen when it is safe to do so. Most of the park will be closed except for the Kahuku unit, which will be open for normal several hours. The temporary closure of the Hawaii's Volcano National Park comes after the Kilauea volcano has been releasing toxic steam and lava for several days, causing widespread damage in the area. While Kilauea is normally an active volcano, the recent increase in activity has some experts predicting a large explosion soon. Hawaii Volcanoes Observatory scientist-in-chief Christina Neal told the Honolulu Star-Advertiser that scientists believe a small earthquake near the summit of Kilauea caused a large rock fall into the crater, which led to an explosion near the surface of the lava lake. Neal said, "I think it's our best estimation that this is the first of perhaps more events like this to come." For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the city of Los Angeles agreed on Thursday to pay $2 million to settle a civil lawsuit over the fatal police shooting of a homeless man in 2015 that went viral in an online video and fueled a U.S. debate on police tactics, according to a lawyer for the man's family. Dan Stormer, a lawyer representing the family of Charlie Africa Kunang, said the settlement came shortly after a federal jury in Los Angeles found that 2 police officers in the civil suit were liable for the death of the 43-year-old man. Stormer said in an interview, "The defense made an offer which we accepted. It was $2 million. The 8-person jury found that Officer Francisco Martinez had used unreasonable force against Kanang and that his superior, Sergeant Chand Syed, had failed to intervene. The jury cleared a third officer, Daniel Torres, in the deadly March 2015 incident. A spokesman for the Los Angeles Police Department said it would not comment on a civil suit. The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office had previously declined to charge the 3 officers with criminal charges. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Following this afternoon's arrest of Congress on the charge of over 23 million counts of manslaughter, our reporter spoke to Mark Westnick from Savannah, Georgia, just one of the many Americans that has lost a loved one due to the legislative branch's criminal negligence.
Because of Congress, my 23-year-old son died 2 years ago in Afghanistan. My nephew, he lost his leg in Iraq in 2006, and my brother died in Vietnam in 1969. Congress killed my family.
Defense attorneys for the now incarcerated 538-member group have dismissed the claims made by Westnick and other victims and released a statement saying their client has been, quote, a pillar of the national community for over 200 years and completely innocent of any and all wrongdoing. Keep checking theonion.com for more as this story develops.
This is the Onion News Network.
I don't mean to sound too nice. No, I am Canadian after all, but oh boy, isn't tonight going to be one to remember? Well, welcome back, everyone. This is Questioning Authority, and I'm your host, Vincent. And now, I took a break last week, but it certainly seems like last month. It's just been because I started working. You know, I am a full-time, or yeah, I would say I am a full-time student for 2/3 out of a year. But when I return, when the semester's over, I get right back to work to refill my coffers and my shekels, and to get my to refill my coffers. So, well, one, I could live. Two, I could play. I could get some. I'm trying to find a way to phrase this without sounding like a jackass. So, get some coinage, get some capital to impress a lady, take her out, have her give her a good time out on the town or whatnot. But not too much. I don't want to attract gold diggers or spoil anyone. But certainly seems like it's been a bit longer, and I'm sure many of you are wondering why you're just hearing this gravelly voice, this beautiful deep. Actually, in some cases, it was too deep. I've had I had a director tell me that I'll get into that later. I don't know how much, and that's the thing, being away from Keene, the subject matter is excuse me, folks. It's going to be a little bit of a crapshoot tonight. I had to, since obviously I'm away from Keene, obviously, and so I'm back in the in Grafton County where activists go to die, and so I had to jury rig something to communicate with all of you today. Take the microphone, obviously. This microphone is made out of pine cones. I had to stitch it together today. Pine cones and some copper wire from an abandoned mill. This mixer here, I carved it out of a stone, and in order to, mark the levels. So I use deer shit to mark the green. I use some raccoon shit to mark where the yellow is, and then I found the rarest shit in the woods. I found bear shit. Even, one would think that bear shit isn't too rare because in the woods, because of all places, because that's where bears shit, obviously. And I think the phrase goes, does a bear shit in the woods? Sort of one of those similar things, like, does the Pope hide small children underneath his hat? Yet anyway, so I had a hard time finding bear shit, but that's what I used to mark for red. And so that's why if I sound a bit funky tonight, it's this Stone Age equipment. Got some Flintstone ghetto shit rigged right here, but I guess I'll go into I'll address the moderate size elephant in the room, because I doubt very many people care. Since I can only afford one Lexicon Alpha, I had to sacrifice calls. So if someone really wants to, unless I get like a lot, and for people following the show or following the audio stream, the podcast or the video or however you're watching. And actually, I am curious to see how you're watching. So if you don't usually engage through the Discord, you can certainly send, if you want to ask, you could go into the LRN Discord, and I will be checking it more often now that I have less distractions here. Except all my, my dad's old porno mags, those might distract me during the break. So I might have to have someone send me a message to remind when they're up. But that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, so I can't take calls. I can't afford 2 lexicons. So if someone wants to give me some shekels or donate the equipment, contact me at Shire Free Media. Or if you just want to send a question or ask something, if you want to have something discussed, Shire Free Media, just all one word, at gmail.com. I mean, there is a benefit to not having a camera. Like right now, I have some I forget what it's called, some kind of calcified mucus in my throat right now, and so it's like the same thing Ted Cruz had on his lip that he licked. But thankfully, I could spit this out right now, and no one will care. Or they wouldn't have even known. So I'm just gonna grab it. Hold on. Geez, I'm in the woods for a week, and I already lose all my city manners. My. Well, we certainly have a. And also, the one Lexicon Alpha I did manage to get my hands on to play audio from the computer, because, how could I do a show without having Alex Jones clips? Well, I'm going to have to, because I don't know, something's wrong and crapped out on me. It made me sound like Darth Vader, but that's okay. That's okay. We have a lot to talk about. I thought to myself, this show almost didn't happen just because of, I never thought, I used to do audio back when I was in school, when I was in junior high. Not junior high, pardon me. In high school, I did audio for the drama, the quote unquote drama club, and the name drama club is certainly appropriate. And I used to do audio, and basically, they had like some big fancy mixer. They had 2. One, it was the old mixer, and then they got a fancy new one. And some mixers and switchboards for the lighting for some of these like big off-Broadway and maybe even Broadway productions.